So you guys have any, like, plans for the weekend?
Besides the Cambrian Bunny Awards tomorrow? No, not
Oh,
really.
yeah. That's right. That's going on. How's that going, by the way? Good, bad, the ugly?
Um, I mean, we've had both. I'm holding both sometime, like, I don't know, midnight?
How long did you have the voting going for?
Just over a month. I think like a month and a week.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, no.
That's a solid amount of time. There are some where I've seen them go, like, crazy long, and some that have gone, like, where the voting got cut short and stuff like that, so I think a month is a pretty solid amount of time.
Yeah, well, the ideal was basically have the nomination and the award ceremony about a month apart. So this ended up going a month and a week because the actual 1 month point didn't work for one of the other panel members. So, like,
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know. I figured it's a reasonable amount of time. I don't want it to be the point where people forget that it was ever a thing, because like we have nominations in January. If we don't have like the award show until like April or something, people will forget.
That's way too long, yeah. Unless you're gonna be doing, like, some events surrounding it. So, like, I don't know if you had, like, people debating or something about the people, or, like, if you made, like, a thing out of it.
I mean, I guess I could.
That'd be a lot of work.
Of course, well, it would be a lot of work, but also people are free to just do, you know, whatever, because this is an award show that doesn't matter. So,
Right.
like, if people wanted to make arguments for their own candidates and debate about it, they're welcome to.
That does sound
They
like
don't
fun.
need me. Yeah.
That does sound like fun.
I'm just still like fascinated that the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial is still going on Twitter. Like the trial has ended.
Welcome back to Dumb Fekk Friday.
Dumb
Dumb Fekk Friday.
Dumb
Dumb Fekk Friday.
It's going to be fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dumb Fekk Friday. Manya has returned, and for a very special
Yay.
episode, we have the, HOVINDicators.
Oh, okay.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a
I
good
like it.
title. Yeah.
Bent and Dapper, who spend a lot of their time just dunking all over Kent Hovind. So I apologize, Manya. We are back straight into it with Kent Hovind right out the gate. And I don't think we've ever
Oh
actually...
my God.
I don't think we've ever actually covered Kent Hovind on Dumb Fekk Friday. I know
Yeah,
I've had Dapper and Bent on before to talk about Kent, but I don't think it was a Dumb Fekk Friday.
I don't think it
No.
was either.
It must.
I don't think so.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So, I guess we should talk about the rules a little bit, because we have to set rules when it's Kent Hovind. Okay, first rule is, I'm sorry, this is Kent Hovind. So, protect your brain however you feel like you can do that, and be aware that Kent is a walking piece of garbage. So don't be surprised if we get to some pretty horrendous crap, because on Dumb Fekk Friday, we're not here to talk about the science, we're here to talk about the behavior. So, if you want science debunking, go over to Dapper's channel and join him and Bent for their Tuesdays, mostly Tuesdays, show, right?
Yes. Yeah. So every Tuesday I have a show where we do a drinking / debunking show. It is usually Kent with Ben is the most frequent one. I also have a Matt with Maddie and Jackson with Jackson, where we do like Matt Powell or Raw Matt with Maddie. Although this week we're doing Matthew McLean because we both need a breather from Matt Powell. Jackson with Jackson is Dr. Charles Jackson with Jackson Wheat. And currently Eric with Erica, which is Eric Hovind with Gutsa Gibbon, is on hiatus while she works on her degree.
Ooh, nice.
And but the weeks that it's not one of those, it is Kent with Bent, where we take a look at especially Kent's older stuff, because his new stuff that
Yes.
he's put out is just really boring.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be looking we're not looking at any of his seminar stuff, we're actually looking at kind of what's gone on with him. He got removed from YouTube, there's been a whole slew of things. Second rule for dealing with Kent Hovind is expect trigger warnings. So in this point, for this one, we're going to be talking about a child who has come forward and talked about how they were I guess it would be assaulted, allegedly.
I think so, yeah.
At Dinosaur Adventureland, there was also there's probably going to be a mention of the child who died at Dinosaur Adventureland not too long ago. Trigger warnings for abuse, as well as I do believe if we get to it, we've got a recording of the interview that the Daily Beast did, like the full recording, and it's mostly Kent Hovind being a gaslighty abusive piece of shit. So. Welcome to Kent Hovind, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. So...
Look,
I guess...
if there's a horrible thing that you can think of, there's a fair chance that Kent Hovind has either done it or advocated for it. So...
Or will be, at some point in the future, doing it. Because he keeps doing things over and over again.
So, do we want to get these two introduced properly?
Yeah.
Nah, everyone knows who we are.
I don't think so.
Alright, well, this is Dapper and Ben.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm Ben.
Oh, come on.
I'm Ben, that's Dapper over there.
Come on, guys. Introduce yourself a little more.
I'm
Come
Dapper.
on,
I'm a
tell us.
dinosaur. I do debunky stuff on my own channel. I don't know. I have 3 shows a week most weeks. Usually there's a Tuesday show, a Thursday premiere, and then a Saturday show. So if you want 3 shows a week of dinosaurs talking about stupid stuff and why real science is smarter than the stupid stuff, go subscribe.
Bent also does a whole lot of music, so go and check
I do
that
a lot
out.
of music. You can see guitars behind me, and I have free music, and I'm on Dapper's show, and I hang out, and I'm around.
Jack of Hearts points out something interesting in the chat that maybe we can discuss a little bit just before we get started. It's mostly Kent being a piece of shit. Chesh, totally unbiased. How do you be unbiased against Kent Hovind, and should you be?
Yeah.
Yeah, look,
no, there's no way.
There are certain things where to be a neutral and unbiased observer is to still come to a conclusion that is against a particular side, right? Because sometimes there's a side that's just objectively in the wrong by basically any standard you could think of, and that's almost always Kent Hovind. I can't think of a time when I would say Kent Hovind was in the right in an obvious way, as opposed to other people who disagreed with him.
So what you're saying is that it's not about a bias, it's about consistency?
Mm-hmm.
It's about Kent being consistently garbage?
Yeah, look,
yeah, it's like his reputation precedes him, isn't it? His reputation has preceded him always.
Right.
So...
And then he lives up to it or down to it.
Think about it like this. If I published a book and then Bent published a different book that had the exact same text as mine, and I said, hey, that's plagiarism, and then you took my side, it's not because you're biased against Bent. It's because he published the same exact damn text. There's only one conclusion to come to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I did prepare...
Not that Bent would ever do such a thing.
I did prepare a drink. I don't think we're going to drink... I don't think we're going to use the normal Kent with Bent rules, because I think this whole thing is just going to be Kent being stupid. Like, I don't think there is going to be anything he gets right in this scenario, so I don't want to just drink the whole I'm going to run out of alcohol.
I've already run out of alcohol.
Oh, crap. Ah, crap, oh no.
I ran out years ago.
I'm on to caffeine.
Yeah, it's starting with a T, but I did bring alcohol. Consume at your own risk if you decide to play any of the drinking games. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's get started, shall we?
Yeah, what are you starting with?
An article by the Daily Beast titled "Preacher Accused of Enabling Pedophile at Creationist Dino Theme Park." Great start!
Yeah.
Woo!
Yikes.
Woo!
It's not going to get much better.
It is not. I assure you it's only going to get worse from here.
The title's like, let's get right to it, alright? No dancing around, no prancing around the topic, let's get to it.
The reporter is Kelly... Is that Weil? Will?
Weil? Yeah, I think it's Weil. I'm not sure.
Weil? Anyway,
sounds
I
right.
heard her. I listened to the majority of the interview beforehand, and she did a pretty good job dealing with Kent because he is a pill.
Oh yeah.
Ex-residents of the theme park where child drowned in 2022. Hey, didn't I say we were going to talk about that? say a man convicted of playing strip poker with young boys brought a child to the park and shared a bed with him. This was updated on February 4th.
Oh my god.
That
So
harsh.
With a big old picture of Kent Hovind right at the top.
well, since I've come out from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it's kind of like hearsay, right? So this person has Kelly has interviewed people who used to be residents. So she's got her sources, but it's people telling her what happened.
At least the sources are clear in this case.
Take a note
though.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a note of that, yeah.
Billy Summers had only known Kent Hovind for a couple of days when Hovind told him about the convicted child sex offender who sometimes visited Hovind's Christian amusement park. So Kent told Billy about this?
Yeah, Kent volunteers this. For some reason, he thinks that it's a good idea to volunteer the fact that he has someone who's a registered sex offender for offenses against minors coming on his property that's marketed towards children. And he seems to think it's a good idea because he thinks the conviction is either nonsense or blown out of proportion.
Have I heard that before?
Because the thing is, Kent does acknowledge, I don't want to get too far ahead, but Kent does acknowledge the basic fact that at least one of the charges is true. And it's like, okay, well then, what do you mean that the conviction is nonsense? But we'll get more into detail in that later, so I don't want to go too far into it. Yeah, but yeah, he for some reason thinks it's a good thing to tell people about this.
It's bizarre how they justify something in their minds. It's like their minds just work on another type of logic or illogic, I might say, dare say.
Illogic, because there's no reason to hire someone like this for your theme park at all. Especially if you're marketing towards children. That makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a degree of, like, conviction being true or not, and whether or not you hire felons, and why or why not you might, and what... The thing is you can do this. It's just a matter of making sure there are proper protections in place for point A and point B, right? So, like, if Disneyland hires somebody who was convicted as a pedophile, but he's an accountant who's never in the park... There isn't a risk to kids in that regard. Now, it's possible also that Kent Hovind might be required to tell people that this person is hired at the park.
Oh, yeah. Because I think so.
I think he is.
I mean, I don't imagine he would be doing that, like, because he had to. I think he would just do it, but...
So, my understanding from... Oh, sorry.
So, like, if they are convicted of... for harming children, I think so they would have to register themselves and they have to make themselves known if they're somewhere. I think so. So like what Shesh said, it would be that it's Kent's responsibility to let his colleagues, his people who are working under him and people who are visiting the park know if there's someone like that person present there on the premises. I agree with Shesh. They should. It will be their obligation.
I would say it's certainly an ethical obligation. I don't know that it's a legal one. I mean, look, I am not an expert on, like, the sex offender registry. It's certainly the sex offender's job to update his location with sex offender registries, and then the government in that area is supposed to send out notifications about a sex offender moving into an area. Right. So I don't know, like, I would say, obviously, from an ethical standpoint, if you have a park for kids and there's someone who might be a danger to those kids as established by an actual legal system, then yeah, you should probably let people know, or just don't have them there. But I don't know that he could actually get in legal trouble for not telling people. That's probably a separate issue.
It's like, why would you want, like, what, I'm just surprised, like, what speciality does that person have that you ought to have him on the park? So that's also
I can
question,
tell you.
Like,
he supports Kent Hovind unquestioningly. That's all it takes.
Okay. He's a parrot. Okay.
Yeah, no surprise there. No surprise there. Super chat from Vandalia that says, Dapper Bent, don't you two get enough of Kent on Tuesdays? First step is admitting you have an addiction. I'm sure Chet will help with your intervention. I will
It's a
not.
cult, and they're making sure I
That's
get
good.
indoctrinated in that cult. So that's what's happening here.
I think
It's
Vanya's
spreading.
hot box right now. Look at how whited out she is.
I know.
Hold on, give me a sec. I know why I'm so white.
There you go.
That didn't come out. My
Oh,
camera was like.
You almost
also
had
didn't
it.
help all that much.
It did for a second, and then it stopped.
Come on.
I believe in you, Manya.
There we go.
Athens also is reporting back about Ant-Man, because he went to saw it yesterday. He said 8 out of 10. It was amazing.
Oh,
So if
nice.
you're looking
That's
at
good.
going to watch Ant-Man. Alright, so they were in Kent Hovind's car picking up supplies for Dinosaur Adventureland. D-A-L. DAL? Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna call it DAL now on. Oh boy. The creationist theme park that Hovind operates in a quiet pocket of Alabama. Hovind spoke about a longtime friend who had done time for battery and committing lewd acts on children under the age of 14. Hovind claimed the conviction was a sham and that the friend was actually being persecuted for his work on exposing the New World Order, but Summers was alarmed.
I can't
Gee, I
imagine
wonder why.
I want to know what this
This
New
is the
World
most
Order
bizarre
thing is.
I've ever heard.
Oh, it's
Seriously.
the Illuminati.
Imagine just hearing Kent start talking about all of this while you're like riding on a golf cart to the next place you're going on.
Just
Yeah, you're
completely
like,
unprompted.
What? Oh,
So,
wait,
by the way-
is
You
the
picked
New
up some
World
lumber.
Order?
Oh god.
Oh man.
I
Well,
like...
speaking
Sorry, go ahead.
speaking of construction and getting construction supplies for Dinosaur Adventureland, Kent is the foreman at Dinosaur Adventureland, and he has no idea about any local building codes. And people who've been there and who do actually have some experience in the construction industry say that his construction techniques are shoddy and probably unsafe, and they
We
wouldn't
talked-
be surprised if any of those buildings collapse.
We talked to Cindy about
Yeah.
this. When Cindy Lincoln was on, Cindy, who used to be part of Dinosaur Adventureland, I guess, was
I mean, she was Kent's partner.
She was Kent's partner, yeah. But she was involved in Dinosaur Adventureland, both monetarily and like the work that she put in. And one of the things that she did was she kept trying to go to Kent. One of the things that quote unquote got her in trouble with the Kent cult was that she kept telling Kent that things were unsafe for children. Wow!
Well, see, the thing is, Kent
Go
doesn't
support Cindy
care.
Lincoln, by the way.
Kent doesn't
Yeah,
care about
she's
children
very nice.
beyond the possibility that he can get them to become Christians according to his rules for what counts as a Christian, and therefore he gets like the brownie points for getting another soul into heaven. And you can tell because in response to the death that occurred that we saw referenced above, one of the things he said is, "Well, you can always make another one."
What? Oh my
Yeah, he
goodness.
did say that.
Yep.
Why is it like Christians like, or religious people, I would say, in general, like Kent, make it a competition? And like that goes against the, you know, the principles of Christianity, isn't it? You're not supposed to be prideful about what you do, but it looks like he's full of
Oh,
pride.
Kent is like an
about what he does.
anti-Christian. I don't think I've seen
Oh.
Kent Hovind ever behave the way, like, Jesus is like, hey, you should behave this way. Kent's like, oh yeah, that's the thing? I read it this way. It's fine.
Opposite direction. Let's go.
But he thinks of himself as Jesus, and I know this is a little off topic, but when he was complaining about his YouTube channel getting shut down, he was calling himself Jesus, and the false flaggers were Pharisees. And he was blaming other Christian channels for false flagging his channel.
Oh.
When
And I was like, why? Why would you think you're Jesus, Kent? You're not Jesus.
in the period leading up to Cindy getting either kicked out or leaving, or a little bit of both, she was compared to Korah, who's a character that in Exodus, or maybe it's Numbers, I don't remember exactly, who rebels against Moses. And guess who the Moses is in that discussion?
Oh god.
It's Kent. He's literally being called like God's chosen down over at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Fucking ew.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
so cringe into oblivion.
And let me guess, taxpayers' money has gone into that, so that
Not that I'm
Kent
aware
can call
of.
himself the chosen one.
I don't think so. Kent is very
as far as I know,
sovereign
no.
citizen-y, so it's like...
Was
Yeah,
it,
so-
like,
Donations.
private. Yeah.
Whereas
did he
Ken
get the
Ham
funds
will
for
seek
it?
out donations.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
So-
No.
He's
so,
got
like,
a lot
Ken
of
Ham-
support.
On the one hand, like Ken Ham will look for like government programs and subsidies and tax breaks and whatnot. Kent just doesn't report things.
Right.
That's his go. In fact, that's
but-
why his second wife left, was because she was worried that he was not fulfilling his obligations in terms of like tax liability and
Yeah.
fiduciary requirement to like the board of Dinosaur Adventureland.
Yeah.
And so she, someone who runs a nonprofit herself, was like, "Yeah, this is not how this is supposed to work, and I don't want to be dragged down with you. I'm out."
Yeah.
Yeah, good on her.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't be
Yeah.
the first Mrs. Hovind to be dragged down with Hovind. His first wife was sent to a year in prison as a result of being involved with his financial misdeeds.
Oh god.
Yep.
Athens,
Let
Smitty made an interesting point that says, what sounds more menacing than a quiet pocket of Alabama? And that was exactly the same thing I was thinking. I'm like, there's probably a reason Ken Hovind exists in the middle of butt-fucking nowhere. Godless Scummer for 2 also said the super chat means Chesh isn't monetized, winky face. Thanks.
And yeah, it's I had a brain fart. I had a point to make and it just went away.
It happens.
Kent getting money for being called the...
Yeah. Okay, yeah, now I remember it. Thanks.
Yeah, this is
As soon
what I'm
as
here
Jess
for.
said money, it came
Holla
back.
holla.
A piece of advice. If someone comes to you and says, I'm taking this loan and can you please sign off as a guarantee or guarantor for this loan for me, even if your family, don't do it. If they default, you are going to end up losing your shit. Don't do that. Alright? Unless they are like, they have a plan and you have, like, nah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't ever become a guarantor, please. Like, and also, like, if you're posting bond money for someone or something like that. All right? So don't become the guarantor there because you will lose your shit. Please, including spouses, please be very careful. Please keep it separate. Don't get involved.
Quote,
Yeah, that's
in my head, I was like, well, I'm stuck out here, out in the middle of Alabama right now, riding along with him, so I can't say nothing, Summers told the Daily Beast. In interviews with
Yeah.
former workers and recordings from internal DAL meetings, I hate that. I hate calling it DAL. People
You don't have
close...
to.
I'm gonna. People close the theme park, close to the theme park, express concern about Hovind's cavalier attitude towards crime on the compound. Hovind is a controversial, I guess, young Earth creationist who preaches that Earth is less than 10,000 years old and that dinosaurs rode on Noah's Ark. Behind his literalist interpretation of the Bible is a more creative interpretation of the law.
It's very well
God.
said.
That is perfect.
Nice.
I applaud the journalist or the author of this article. Well done.
Yes, that was a great
Yeah.
line right there.
Hovind previously served 9 years in prison for tax avoidance. While he was behind bars, feds seized and sold an early iteration of DAL in that... Where did they get DAL from? That Hovind...
Dinosaur Adventureland. It's the
Yeah,
initials.
yeah, I know, but do you think, like, Kent Hovind said that? Or do you think
No,
that, like...
They say
just did it.
DAL.
It was just
They
them.
say DAL. They don't pronounce it as DAL.
Grifty sent us a 3 super sticker and waved. Hi, Grifty, it's good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I definitely recommend
Hello.
y'all, by the way, over on your channel, take a look at Kent Hovind, because if you want to talk about a grift, whoo!
Oh,
boy.
There's some fun to be had there. Iteration of DAL that Hovind operated in Pensacola, Florida. I wonder why he moved from Florida to Alabama.
yeah. Oh, I know.
For
It's
his
because he
theme
was
park.
donated the land. The land that
Oh.
Dinosaur Adventureland is on currently was actually originally owned by a fan of his who wasn't really using it for anything. So
Wow.
he just gave it to Ken for free.
Oh, Vesta,
That-
holy
give me
shit!
That land. Give me that
Damn.
land, bro. I'll build a house on
Oh.
it. Houses on it.
I mean, accurate.
Wow.
Oh
Dark,
my
but
god!
accurate.
That is dark. Oh, Lord. The park featured a zip line, a fossil dig pit, a creationist museum, and a tricycle racetrack. Rather than relaunch the Pensacola Park after his release from prison in 2015, Hovind opened up a new Dal in Alabama. But Dal's woes now go far beyond Hovind's tax troubles, which shuttered the first park. I wanted a man of God who I could trust.
Oh my goodness.
I think Bent's impression is better than mine.
I wanted a man of God who I could trust.
Well done.
Nice.
I've never done that before.
Since Hovind launched his... Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Since Hovind launched his latest incarnation of Dal in 2016, 2 wives have left him, one citing financial concerns with the park, and the other because he assaulted her. That's Cindy. Volunteers and staffers have also quit Dal over a range of grievances. Among their concerns are repeated visits to Dal by Hovind's sex offender friend, who allegedly molested a child at the park, the death by drowning of a different child in a pond used for baptisms, Hovind's assault of his now ex-wife, allegations of theft of ministry money by a Hovind colleague, the arrest of a colleague for a drugged-out alleged carjacking, a late-night evidence removal operation by more than a dozen church volunteers, and the fatal shooting of a dog near Dal.
Oh my goodness.
That is quite the list.
That is quite a list. I'm just curious. For the death, hasn't he been sued for wrongful death? He should be sued for that.
His parents signed a waiver.
Oh yeah. Oh god. That's so shitty.
Yep.
That's so shitty.
Dinosaur Adventureland is uninsured, and when you go to enter it, you are given a waiver form, and if you don't sign it, you don't go in, which, I mean,
good.
To be fair, I guess.
Don't.
I mean, don't sign it. Yeah, don't sign it, don't go in. There's not a good reason to do so.
There's no good reason to go to this
so
place.
there are a lot of... If you really want to know what the place looks like, I think so there are already a lot of people who have been there, I think so, who like to debunk Kent Hovind and have made videos about that, museum and stuff, so you can just go in to those channels and watch it. Yeah.
One thing I will say is that, waivers aren't foolproof, right? Like, you can still sue even with some kind of waiver like that. But the thing is that the standard becomes much, much higher. Because normally, you could sue if it was just something like just regular old plain negligence, right? Like, oh, you should have had a lifeguard. To sue after a waiver like that is in place, you have to show gross negligence, which means that not only were you negligent, but you were negligent in like an intentional way. So, for instance, if you were like, oh, I just don't check the security cameras, and then someone got assaulted on the park, that's probably negligence. But if you turned off the security system because like the beepy lights or something like annoyed you, that's gross negligence, where you're not just ignoring it, you're actively taking some kind of action to say, no, I have this obligation to people's safety, but I choose to reject it. So I don't think that drowning would rise to the level of gross negligence because, I mean, it's like everything is at your own risk, and it's obvious that there's no lifeguard.
Yeah, they would have had to have seen the kid and ignored him. That would push it past that. But just an unattended child would not fall
and
under
there is
that.
an indication that happened. Like, there's no indication that like Kent murdered this kid or something, right? Like, that's not what anyone's accusing anyone of.
And Helios makes a good point. A lot of the waivers aren't actually enforceable, so the child's death could still be liable. That's certainly possible, but that would be on the family to figure out how to pursue. And if you're a part of a cult, are you really gonna go out of your way to sue the cult leader?
Probably not.
Yeah.
So there's there's some social
you know what?
yikes going on.
Recently, a different cult leader was ruled to be served.
Which one?
David Miscavige has been ruled to have been served in a lawsuit, because the thing was, I mean, this is off topic. I don't want to go too far into it, but for like a year or so, the plaintiffs have been trying to serve him basically everywhere in Clearwater and in California.
Yep.
And when his lawyers were asked, well, like, hey, can we get an address from you? They were like, well, we don't want to, endanger Mr. Miscavige's security. So then they were offered, well, what if we give you the papers and then you can send them to the address and you don't have to tell us the address? Or we can seal it and send it to the court, and the court can serve the papers under that seal. And there was, no, we can't do that. So then the judge was like, no, he's served. You're his lawyers. You can tell him about this.
Yeah.
He has 21 days.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes. If you send a cease and desist to someone's lawyer, you are considered served. Yeah, and that's how it
Well,
should
it got to the point where the judge had to ask his personal lawyers, like, okay, so is your client missing? Should we file a missing persons report with the police?
Right.
Because you don't seem to know where he
Interesting,
is. No one else does. So either you know where he is, or someone does, or he's a missing person.
Right.
And they definitely do not want the police out looking for David Miscavige as a missing person.
That's fair.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I definitely recommend if you want to know more about that, go follow Chris Shelton. Chris Shelton has been like watching this like a hawk because it's all Scientology stuff, and that is right up his alley. So I absolutely recommend going and checking out his channel. It's also
he's
a
been
great
guest on both of our channels.
He has, and he is wonderful. I need to reschedule him actually. Okay, quote: "The property is gorgeous, but it's the inside. The inside of it is what's dark." Julie Shunk, Hovind's former secretary who lived and worked at Dow for 3 years, told the Daily Beast, quote, "A lot of people don't know this. The devil comes as an angel of light too," end quote. I can't imagine looking at Kent Hovind's stupid face and thinking he's an angel of any kind, of any variety.
Listen, devil had brains, alright?
Look at this man's
Devil had
face.
brains. The devil was, like, I think so in the beginning, the devil was considered a connoisseur of arts and stuff, like the arts that, right? So, like, yeah, that devil had a brain. Ken doesn't. No.
He's very good at manipulating people. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's more than one kind of intelligence, and it takes a certain kind of intelligence to become a cult leader.
Oh, okay, fair.
And Ken obviously has it. It's just not the same kind of intelligence that makes you make interesting or good arguments in favor of your scientific positions.
I also
'Cause obviously
think
he
that-
does not have that.
I think a lot of his like culty like thing is holdover from before people had a lot of internet access and a lot of like before everything
Possibly.
was being recorded all the time. It's a lot easier to lie to people when they can't check with each other as easily and when you're like
Well, that's
isolated.
Yeah.
That's why I grew up believing Kent Hovind, because I couldn't look it up, so I didn't know any better, and I never heard the correct teachings of evolution.
Well, and you would never hear about the awful crap he's doing. Do you get the Daily Beast delivered to your house? No. So, like, nobody's gonna be... You're not... It's a lot easier to get away with stuff like that before everybody was sharing incredible amounts of information all the time. I think that's why you're seeing, like, a lot more of, like, things in industry that would otherwise, like... You would have no idea that Blizzard has X problem in their pipeline of workload, or X anime company that is, like, working their animators to death, or Apple being horrible, you know. So I think a lot of his stuff is holdover from that era, and a lot of the people are part of that. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? An evangelist with a checkered history. Many of Hovind's flock live in cabins and campers on the 140-acre Dow property in Alabama's rural... how do you pronounce that, Dabber?
I think it's Conacu, but I'm not really sure.
Conacu? Okay, at least I don't feel bad that I'm not the only one who didn't know how to pronounce it. The theme park features animals, playgrounds, and a science center, a swimming and baptism pond, What kid pissed in the baptism pool?
Oh
I mean,
my
almost
goodness,
all of them.
no.
It's a pond.
Probably.
Right?
I mean, to be fair, there's also probably frogs and birds and maybe even fish pissing in there too. So, like, you know,
I really hope.
it's probably pretty gross.
I really hope. Yeah, like they're cleaning that pond regularly, because the bacteria and the diseases that, oh my goodness.
There's a reason why traditionally standing natural water is supposed to be the last resort for baptisms in Christianity.
Yeah.
Flowing water is supposed to be the requirement for just an outdoor natural water formation baptism. In part for cleanliness reasons.
Oh, it's a skunky pond full of sin. Ah! Jason's gonna arise from the bottom.
But yes, that is how baptism works. It takes all your sins and shoves it into the water. That's how it works.
Oh,
Kind of.
God. Ew. I don't
ew.
like it. I don't like this. Okay.
By the way, no, that's not, as far as I know, how any Christian thinks about baptism. In case anyone is about to quote me as saying that's how Dapper understands
Quote
Christianity.
Statues of dinosaurs, which Hovind and other creationists believe coexisted with humans mere thousands of years ago. Quote, the devil, I think, is using the dinosaurs to teach boys and girls the Earth is millions of years old, and it's propaganda, Hovind told a local news outlet. It's not true at all. Okay, whatever.
That's a
Yes,
fairly common
yes, it
speaking
is.
point for him.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Some of Dal's residents and staffers began as vacation goers. Mark Stoney, a former Dal worker, first came to the compound for what he expected to be a brief visit. Oh no, time is bendable in Kent Hovind's Dinosaur Adventureland.
Well, that's how he gets you. So he'll advertise it. Oh, everything's free. But then once you get there, he'll say, "Oh, hey, since you're here for free, you want to help? Swing a hammer, saw some boards, do some work." And then rather than saying, "Oh, well, I guess you were only here for a day. Talk to you later. Bye. Hope you had fun." He's like, "Oh, hey, if you want to stay another day, we have more work for you." And then the next day, there's always more work.
No, he's
And
trying
if
to take
you're
advantage of
someone-
Christian's goodwill and being a guilt-trippy,
Oh, yeah.
gaslighty piece of garbage.
Free labor, where I have heard that before now. Yes. Star? Oh.
Kent is loath to pay
Oh,
for
gosh.
anything.
Fair.
Kent is loath to pay for
Wow.
anything. He could afford to do things like bring buildings up to code or buy construction equipment. He chooses not to, and instead he'll do things like beg for people to sell him a tractor, or just donate a tractor.
Yeah.
He's had actual
Yeah, that's
vehicles
nothing.
donated.
Wow.
Quote, I was only going to stay the afternoon, but somehow Hovind convinced me to stay and put me to work on some projects, which was
Yep.
kind of what I was interested in doing, Stoney told the Daily Beast. Narcissists are good at picking out the somebody who's willing to be a helpful person and then taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
He finally left after 3 days and returned to his parents' house, where he expressed his desire to live and work at Dal for a month with his young daughter. His parents objected, but after a 15-month custody battle, Stoney and his daughter moved to Dal the same weekend he got her back. Bro! No!
Honestly, if you're a custody, if you're in the family courts and you're a judge who rules on custody, anyone who indicates that they're trying to take their kid to Dinosaur Adventureland, that should be an automatic no, you don't get custody.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hovind's checkered
Yeah.
history was a matter of public record. A well-known tax protester who once boasted of not filing a tax return in 30 years, Hovind has had repeated run-ins with the law. The incidents range from his refusal to secure permits for his original Florida-based Dal to a 2016 conviction on 58 charges related to tax evasion. His then-wife Jo also spent a year in prison for the scheme. They later divorced. Quote,
By the way,
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That thing with the building permits, it was basically a $50 building permit. In the end, he fought it tooth and nail to the point where finally, when the judgment came against him, he owed the state thousands of dollars over failure to secure a $50 building permit.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Why?
$50.
Some people are just that stubborn, I guess.
Kent, I firmly think Kent has
He
a
was trying to make
psychological
point,
block
I guess.
about authority. He does not want anyone to ever tell him what to do. Kent is in charge of his life. You don't get to tell him what to do. And if you try, it doesn't matter how much it costs him in the end. He cannot let that pass without trying to fight it as much as possible, no matter how bad it is for him.
Digital Demonic Davros for 5 said, Kent is not the only thing wrong with himself. His own hubris was his undoing, like a supervillain monologue going too long that authority catches them. Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a poll that was going, it was Ben's beard versus Mania's hair, and that is a close-ass poll.
Wow.
Damn.
I actually voted for Ben.
I voted for Manya. Manya should win. This is a
talk
pretty
about how-
good beard.
We can talk about how
Come on, look at that hair.
it is pretty fab. Can we talk about how Bent and Manya are basically the two most wholesome people I actually know?
Thank you, I think.
Yeah.
What did I
that's
do?
kind of you, Chef.
Oh, wait, no, now I know.
Yeah, you stay in the
You
corner.
are one of the most wholesome dinosaurs she knows. You know?
Oh.
I watched Barney as a kid. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to top that.
Okay.
Well, okay, yeah, no, I'm not even going to pretend to be that wholesome.
Okay, Okay, one of the two wholesome dinosaurs, she knows.
I know what Dapper sends me in the background. You don't know.
Oh.
I'm like Dr.
No, I know.
Hovind.
I get it.
Can we make a parody of Dr. Jones that's Dr. Hovind?
Dr. Hovind, Dr. Hovind.
I'm like, Dr. Hovind, you're supposed to be sitting with us. Is that man on Cameo? Can we get that?
We should find
Oh,
out.
no.
A short round on Cameo. Find out for us, chat.
I'm like, Dr. Hovind, you're supposed to be sitting with the father, having sympathy for him and praying with him, not passing out your dinosaur cards so people can come. That's just psycho to me. Fair.
Welcome. Welcome
Other
to the
more-
New World Order.
Welcome to the New World Order. Other more violent allegations followed him. In 2002, he was arrested for alleged assault, battery, and burglary on tenants in a house he owned. The case was later dropped after alleged victims decided not to pursue the charges. Go figure. Quote, the situation was physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially draining, she wrote online at the time. In an interview with the Daily Beast, Hovind denied the allegations, accusing his accuser of attempted extortion.
Yeah, see, nothing's ever his.
She was trying to blackmail me, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Secret evidence.
This, if I remember correctly, this was basically an attempt by Hovind to evict this person from the place she was renting without actually following like the proper legal channels for an eviction. Basically, this is the claim, right? I'm not saying that this has happened because we don't have any like legal outcome of this or anything. Nothing's been decided by competent authorities. But the allegation is basically that he came to the door to threaten them because he didn't want them living there anymore, and they objected, and then things got physical, with Kent initiating the physical interaction by physically restraining them from closing the door and then entering the house. And then there was some shoving, if I remember correctly, but I'm not positive.
Yikes.
But again,
That
all of
is-
this is still alleged because we don't have
They dropped the charges.
Anything
There was no
indicating-
follow-through.
charges dropped, no
Yeah.
legal case.
Yeah.
So this is just an allegation. I can't say for certain. However, I will say, given the conviction that is currently on the books for domestic assault, it certainly seems within character for that to have been something he did.
Helios, who's been a member for 32 months, thank you so much.
Wow.
Hey everyone, remember to like, subscribe, and share this. And now that my obligatory shilling is done, I get my cup back, Chesh? I want some coffee. For anybody who doesn't know, I have a side summer home inside of one of Helios's mugs. Yeah, you can go ahead and use it. Thanks. Just make sure you wash out the ring afterward. But Hovind remained popular in some Christian circles, where he's better known for the decades of creationist children's material he published under his Dr. Dino brand. Quote, my kids were raised with his videos, and I thought he was amazing, Hovind's second wife, Mary Toko, wrote in an open letter to Hovind's fourth wife in 2021. Quote, I wanted a man of God who I could trust. That was not Hovind. Surprise, surprise.
No, it was not.
Hovind's not the problem. Both wife, guys.
I mean, I don't want to like blame victims because it's one of those things where it's like, how are you supposed to know, right? And again, if we're talking like, this is his second wife, and your kids were raised on him, and he's like, and this is a relationship of power imbalance, and we've talked about that kind of stuff before, right, Manya?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like.
Although
how
I'll be honest,
if you're a partner with your peer, that is a relationship of power imbalance, and it can be that your peer is younger than you. That is possible. So yeah, here also, and I'm just saying, like, he married his fourth wife, right? So he's the constant in all these relationships. So obviously, like Dapper said, that he's never wrong, but everyone should be able to see that he's the constant, so he might be the problem here. But yeah, I don't know why his fans don't use a critical thinking
It's a
skills
cult.
like that.
at this point, if
exactly,
if you're out there and you're thinking of becoming the fifth Mrs. Hovind, because let's be honest, the fourth one probably won't last either. Hey, all sorts of information about this guy is publicly available. Maybe just, check.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point when you're thinking about marrying someone, I don't know, maybe Google their name. just in
Yeah,
case.
okay,
Yeah.
listen, there's a thing that women started doing, and I would say that men should do it as well. And it's, if you're going on a date with somebody, Google them. Just Google their name.
Yeah.
Just check them out. Just to see if anything pops up, because you never know if you're meeting your Tinder date is a serial killer. So, yeah, just do a quick little. It doesn't have to be a huge like police background check, but check people out.
Yeah.
What happens
Check
when
the
I
social
Google
media.
Kent Hovind?
Oh, you're gonna see what
Let's
the
just
first thing
see.
that pops up is?
Like, yeah, let's say I'm a prospective
Yeah.
Mrs. Hovind.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that pops up is his Wikipedia, which already isn't great, because if you've read Kent Hovind's Wikipedia, it's not very flattering. Next
Fair.
thing, let's see. Creationism gets a dash of anti-Semitism on Kent Hovind, which he does in fact sell at his bookstore, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is
boy.
a anti-Semitic screed written by some Russian anti-Semites to pretend that the Jews have a conspiracy to take over the world. He takes that seriously,
Wow.
even though it's long been debunked.
Of
Let's
course
see.
he
Creation
does.
Ministries International has an article against Kent called "Maintaining Creationist Integrity." Forbes, the Kent Hovind $500 million lawsuit that we
Yep.
covered here, Chash.
Yep.
That comes up too.
That's the
Kent's
Peter
IMDb
Riley one, right?
comes up. Yeah, Kent's IMDb comes up, which is kind of funny.
That's funny.
does.
His IMDb.
I'll give
Oh
him
my
that one.
goodness.
I'll give him that one.
The top 5 results are like, oh no, red flags all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone's having trouble with their finances, you gotta be very careful if you want to get into a partnership or relationship with them. Yeah.
I have problems
Like,
with my finances in that I'm not rich enough.
That's
Same.
something very different.
I have that problem too.
By
I'm
the
not
way,
rich
Has a
enough.
Patreon, everybody. Did you know?
Yeah. All right. Taco left Taco. Toko.
Yes, it's Toko.
Listen.
Aw,
Tacos have
sweet
left
name.
Kent Hovind. That's why you know it's trouble.
I
Toko
know
left
some
Hovind
smell.
in 2017 in a Facebook post explaining the split. Toko described her increasingly frustrated efforts to ensure her husband and Dal's finances were above board. Quote, "It wasn't long before I began noticing certain things and then began to grow," she wrote. She claimed that when she brought her concerns to the Dal board, she was rebuffed. Reaching for comment, Toko directed the Daily Beast to her Facebook statements. Hovind denied that Dal's bookkeeping was out of order and accused Toko of trying to take over Dal's board. Quote,
Why is
"There's
he so
nothing wrong
dramatic?
here." He said, quote, we have CPAs that do all of our stuff every year. Our trustees keep track of all that stuff. There's never been any illegal dealings." Alright, chat. X to doubt?
And it's also like,
It's a big old X for me.
it is possible that you don't have any illegal dealings, but if your books are not balanced, there's a problem. If you cannot account for where the money is coming from and going to, it is a problem, because then you can't decide how much tax you own. So yeah, it's a problem. Whether it's legal or illegal is a matter for later. It's always good to have your books balanced and always
Yes.
on top of them, because you never know when the income tax agency decides to, like, okay, there's too much money. I can see too much money on on your spending on your personal expense or whatever. They might come and knock your door and say, "We are gonna check your finances." So let's
Listen,
go
we
for
hear
it."
about,
So,
like,
yeah.
definitely CPAs that definitely exist, and people who have definitely checked records that nobody ever sees, nobody ever knows who they are. We see this kind of crap all over the internet, so if that's something
We
that...
have actually, haven't we?
Twice!
We have.
Twice, directly.
Wow.
Right? It's listen, it's only
Yeah.
happened twice, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah.
over the
Oh,
same
you
thing.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Yeah, if you're getting into any kind of financial situations, just keep yourself safe. Cindy
Yeah.
Lincoln, Hovind's third wife, also said she was initially charmed by the charismatic preacher. She first encountered Hovind through his video series while she was teaching preschoolers. After finishing the series in 2016, she learned Hovind was looking for workers at his new Dal. She packed her bags and moved
Oh.
from California to Alabama, where the theme park was still under construction. Quote, I started out in a tent and ended up as Mrs. Hovind, Lincoln told the Daily Beast. She married Hovind in 2018. Quote, by early 2020, I was experiencing huge red flags. That's 2 years.
Yeah.
We love Cindy.
That's
We stand Cindy here.
Yes, Cindy.
Yes.
Shout out to Cindy. That's what usually, I guess, people like can't do. There's a period of courtship where they will charm you. They will be very well balanced. They
Love
will talk
bombing.
very nicely with you. Yeah, love bomb you and actually respect bomb you also. Like you are their equal. They will treat you like that. But as soon as you're bound to them legally through civil union, the things change. Especially when you're financially dependent on them. That's that's what happened here, which is so sad. So yeah, please be aware if you're getting too much love bombed or even respect bombed, start thinking about it, like what's going on here. So yeah.
Shunk, who greeted them on arrival, noted that they did not appear to be related. Jones was white, the 11-year-old traveling with him was black. Oh, so potentially also abducted child, not even just like a child that was already there?
No, well, so I am familiar with the story, and
Okay.
the child's mother did give permission for Jones to take him to Dinosaur Adventureland. So she knew where he was,
Okay.
and she didn't know about his background, but she did know that he was taking the son there. So
Okay.
That
Del,
part, yeah.
Parents,
Mm.
please don't.
Dell operated for years in a half-open state, receiving visitors and volunteers before formally launching in 2018. The park does not have liability insurance. So, wow, Kent Hovind not having insurance, who'd have thought? Hovind confirmed to the Daily Beast, describing the park's policy as, quote, enter at your own risk, and within 2 years of opening the park would be the scene of a tragedy. Oh, before that, if you, like, all over the place, constant.
Oh my goodness.
well, I mean, not a body count causing tragedy until then.
That's fair. In March of 2022, a visiting family's 5 young children were swimming in Dal's Pond, which doubles as the theme park's baptism pool. Well, kids, don't swim in sin. Stoney, who was also at the pond with his daughter, recalled a commotion when one boy appeared to be struggling in the water. Adults rushed into the pool and pulled the child to shore. But in the tumult, another boy, 7-year-old, went missing. The boy's father, quote, ran back into the lake and tripped over his boy, Stoney recalled. That's sad. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
traumatic,
so
man.
sad.
Yeah. I'm so
Awful.
sorry for that father's loss, seriously, and the family's loss. This could have been avoided, let's just say. And
Oh, absolutely. One, it could have been avoided if there was anybody who was like a professional around at all. And
Yeah,
two,
keeping an eye.
accidents do happen, particularly
Yeah.
when there's a whole lot of commotion and a whole lot of distraction. This is exactly why that
need
there's
lifeguards.
not gonna. This is why Kent Hovind hasn't been held responsible. The way this event is described shows no like a reckless disregard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although it does show negligence by not having a professional there. But
Yeah.
since is there even a
Yeah.
professional anything at Dinosaur Adventureland?
I mean, some of
No.
the people there do have like professional training at various professions. Like,
But are they doing those
I think-
professions at Dinosaur Adventureland?
I don't believe so, but I do think like someone was there who had a nursing degree, and I think might have still been licensed to be a nurse.
Sure.
Oh
Like
boy.
they have people who are like, or at least were professional like electricians and various other things. So like they have professional grade people at certain things there. So like, does that count? I don't know. It's up to you,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
they don't seem to have a lifeguard, which is
Right.
what they
They
need
do
to.
not know.
The child was pronounced dead at the hospital, where Dal workers claimed Hovind demonstrated something less than bedside manner. Yeah. Quote, Kent Hovind was walking around the hospital passing out ministry cards saying, come to Dinosaur Adventureland, we'll give you tours, we're free, everything's free, come see us. It only cost a child. Recalled Shunk, Hovind's then secretary.
Oh my goodness. How
Callous?
like callous, but you don't have empathy. Like
No,
if
there's
I'm
no
not-
empathy, no
if I'm not-
sympathy.
yeah, like no sympathy, no empathy, like empty shell of like just like a puppet handing out business cards. Oh my goodness. Like, isn't what Christianity is about being like empathetic and sympathetic to thy neighbor? Isn't that what it's about? You know, and
Loving
this
your
is
neighbor,
what
yeah.
Well, he
Yeah,
was loving
and
his
Yeah, that's in
neighbors.
there.
All the neighbors at the hospital invited him to his free park.
Oh, that's dark.
Well, that's what he did.
I mean,
I know
that's
the dark
literally
one.
what
That's
he
just
did.
what he did. Hold on a second. Don't blame me. Hold on. Wait a sec.
I'm not blaming you, so I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you.
Hold
But
up.
yeah.
Well, it's true. It's a dark
Um,
thing that Kent did. I mean, you
uh,
can say that.
Inkboy for 5 said this accident could have been avoided if Ken's dad had used a rubber.
Yes.
Yeah, but then
yes.
I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, but how old?
Wait, if Kent's dad hadn't...
No. I wouldn't be
Not like
talking
here
about
on the
you.
channel, yeah.
I would
Yeah,
be
that's
on
Oh, okay.
no,
I was
no
like,
relation.
is Ben coming out and saying that he's
Don't
Kent's
forget
son?
the no relation part. No.
I like the idea that, like, well, how old is Kent Hovind, right? So, like, what year would he have been born in, and how, like, prolific was sex education as well as, like, preventative maintenance at the time? Because I feel like Kent Hovind himself would absolutely be a conscription dodger.
Oh, I mean, possibly. I don't know.
You think Kent
Let's
Hovind would
see,
go to war? I don't think Kent Hovind would go to war.
Nah.
I'd like
He
to.
would
I
would
think
like
boss
he
Donald
everyone
Trump
thinks of
around,
himself.
they would pick him out.
He probably thinks of himself as macho, so I think he might be one of those types who would like go to war, malinger a bunch, get kicked out with a medical discharge, and be like, "Oh, I'm a hero," and then inflate his own things. By the way, he was born in. Oh wait, no, he's 70.
He's
1950.
Born in
Onision.
53.
Yeah.
He's Onision. That's what he is.
Oh God! So here the thing is I think he would like get conscripted. Like he'd
In a
get
way.
conscripted. He would do everything he could to avoid it via the medical route, and then he would say that he was conscripted later on, and that he totally went to war and didn't.
That could be, yeah.
Yeah.
He basically pulled an L. Ron Hubbard,
He'd be
where
like,
he
"I
could just
was-
make up an entire military career.
Yeah, he'd be like, "I was conscripted during this war," and then he would just leave it at that and not say that he dodged out by pretending to be schizophrenic or something.
Or maybe having a broken ankle or knee. Or something like that. Like,
My
he did-
ankle. I would have gone to war,
like
but then I
some-
got shot in the knee with an arrow. Quote, "I'm like Dr. Hovind, you're supposed to be sitting with the father, having sympathy for him and praying with him, not passing out your dinosaur cards so people can come. That's just psycho to me. I don't know what else to call it. I do vaguely remember that," end quote. And then, new quote. "I do vaguely remember that Hovind said when presented with Shunk's account, quote, and yes, I probably did that. My business card has the plan of salvation. They're actually gospel tracts, so I do that everywhere I go. I'm trying to get people saved. I'm an evangelist." His excuse is that, "Oh, that's okay. The kid's dead, so we don't have to worry about him. The father's already saved because he came to my park. Now it's time to get all these other people to the park, and then I'm doing the good thing."
Maybe
No, that's exactly
your
it.
timing is not right, dude. Maybe think about your timing. Maybe.
Well, the answer is that he's just wrong. He's just incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just incorrect, but like start little. But I'm having too much faith in him, I guess. Nah.
Baby steps, Kent. Baby steps. First off, stop calling yourself doctor. Second step, close a dinosaur adventureland. Third step,
Yeah.
commit yourself to, like, some kind of, like, therapy, maybe, of some kind. I don't know. I don't know how to really approach Kent being not awful Kent Hovind. Like, I don't know how you become not that. I don't know if therapy's
I
good
think
enough.
that
A
ship is-
lobotomy?
Lobotomy could work.
Oh God, no. Yes.
These evil atheists are talking about having me lobotomized.
I am so persecuted. Oh my God.
Oh my God! Okay, anyone claiming he acted inappropriately, quote, must have some other kind of axe she's grinding. That'd be my guess. Oh yeah. Hovind said,
The
people
axe
can't
might
just
be
like
that
you
were a
because...
piece of shit.
Yeah, right? People can't just think you're an abhorrent garbage person, right? They must have some other
Nah,
reason
nah.
dislike you besides you being an
Nah,
abhorrent
they're not
garbage person.
mentally well if they think that Cohen is a piece of garbage. Yeah.
Well, Chesh, he's the Lord's anointed, so he can't be a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's the Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Remind me. Did King David ever do any shitty things? Remind me. Did he have some guy killed or something so he could keep sleeping with that guy's wife?
Wasn't
Did
there
happen
like
once.
I'm pretty sure
Okay,
there's a
just
good
checking.
handful
What?
of people who were anointed by God that did shitty things. Like I'm pretty sure that's like 50% of the stories in the Bible.
Right. Well, that's why I just
Oh,
pointed one
God.
out.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like that's all over the place of somebody who gets appointed, like who grows up, gets anointed by God to do something. They either don't do that thing, they get corrupted later on, and then ask for forgiveness, and then things happen. Right, like that's the progression of a lot of those stories, is it not?
Yeah.
Or they end up hanging from a
Goes off
tree by their
track.
entrails.
Oh,
Also an
right,
option.
or that.
Oh,
Yes.
That happens for some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
least
Side
one.
note, I just want to be clear for anybody watching this in the future or currently watching this. I'm the atheist here. Dapper is unclear, Bent is a Christian, and I don't know, Manya's Indian, so she has to be something Indian.
Something in
Indian is now
Well-
a religion. You
Is
heard
that
it here
how it
first, guys.
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
just
God.
being. I know the answer. I'm just being a
Okay.
dick.
Which Indian are you talking about? Let's talk about it. Which Indian are you talking about? Are you talking about a Sikh? Are you talking about a Muslim? Are you talking about a Jew?
Manya, I'm
Christian?
white. I don't know the difference between any of these things.
Which one? No, so
She's
there's
Buddhist.
a very so what people have started saying about Hinduism, like it's a way of life, it's philosophy. We do have gods, but you can be atheist and be still part of Hinduism. I'm like bullshit. So I'm
Manya's
atheist.
Indo-atheist.
I like that.
I also like
I
that.
like
That's a
that.
good one.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm the big bad atheist here, so you don't worry about it. Hovind said, adding that the boy's father, quote, holds no grudge whatsoever, the dad loves our ministry. Matter of fact, he paid to have the gazebo built at the end of our dock in honor of his son, end quote.
How much you want to think that when Kent thinks back on this, the only thing he really thinks about is, hey, that's how I got a free gazebo. Awesome.
I would suspect that how much of a non sequitur this is. One person not having a grudge against you does not dictate whether or not other people who witnessed the event believe that you were appropriate or not. And somebody can still support you without, like, while also still thinking you're inappropriate in a situation.
Yeah. The people I support don't. That doesn't mean I uncritically endorse literally everything they've ever done. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, I should have called the police. Meanwhile, Hovind's third wife, Cindy Lincoln, was experiencing grave concerns about her new husband. Bracket, among other things, Lincoln and Hovind are currently locked in a dispute over whether she loaned Dow the proceeds from the house she sold in California. Lincoln showed the Daily Beast a contract stipulating that she would receive $1,300 a month for 20 years. Hovind denies that Dow entered into a contract. Excuse me.
Of course he does.
Go support Cindy Lincoln. I'm pretty sure there's still a thing open if you wanted to donate to her. Please feel free to do so. I'll make sure to add a link down below in the description once this is over. Quote, I discovered there was a cover-up going on and they tried to silence me, she said. Quote, they had shunned me. And ultimately, basically, he just kept doing strange and mean things to me until basically I fled. End quote. The cover-up, she said, involved long-simmering allegations of drug use and pedophilia at Dow, the latter involving a good friend of Hovind's named Chris Jones. Court records show...
So one thing
Oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So one thing I want to point out is there's a reason why Kent felt a need to drive Cindy away rather than just kicking her off. Or kicking her out, right?
Yeah, because he definitely did more. He talks about Cindy and has done more in regards to that than he has with pretty much anybody else who's ever left.
Right. So the thing is, when it came to like his first two wives, they both just left, right? His first wife divorced him. Mm-hmm. His second wife just basically one day was like, nope, I'm done. I can't be, legally responsible for all this nonsense. I'm out.
Yeah.
But Cindy, for a while, was trying to make it work. The thing is, he didn't want it to. But because he's in a part of Christianity that has a very strict view on things like divorce and remarriage, if he seemed to be the one who's seeking a divorce, then that can be counted as a point against him.
It
So
goes
what he
against
can
his,
do now,
image.
right? So in every case, he's now able to say, with at least some plausibility to his fans, well, I didn't ever file for divorce. I didn't ever abandon my spouse. They left me. Now,
Oh yeah, it wasn't
granted,
your
in the third
behavior
case,
and
it's
your
because
actions.
right. In the third case, it's because, you constantly harassed her to the point of getting violent at one point. And I'm not saying allegedly, because until that conviction is overturned, he's still a convicted spouse abuser.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't actually expect that conviction to be overturned.
I am going to give us a little mini break and let everybody refresh their drinks. We are at the hour-long
Thank you.
mark, and I want to give everybody a chance to refill their drinks, go to the bathroom, and get whatever they're going needed. We will be back in about 2 minutes. See you guys soon. Hello, it's me. I don't know if everybody's back yet. I didn't double check. But I'm here. Hi. It looks like Ben's not in yet, and Monty's not back yet, and Dapper may or may not be there. Sometimes he's nebulous in his existence. So I do want to take a moment there are to thank the supporters of the channel that are showing right here. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for supporting either on Patreon or as members on the channel, top versus bottom there. If you would like to support, you can become a member of the channel, or you can become a Patreon. If you're a Patreon, you get access to the Discord, as well as you get access to all of my previous artwork stuff, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And I'm being yelled at to check the Discord, so I'll do that.
I'm back. Me back.
The hell is this?
Welcome back.
Dick flavor, pussy flavored, jungle edition, limited edition, 18. Are these Pringles?
What?
Are those Pringles?
That's weird.
Whoa.
Whoa.
What?
Hey, boy.
Puppy cam.
Hold on. Oh, wait, hold up. Hold on. Wait a second. What? This isn't real.
Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
What? What?
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Why? Are those Pringles? There's no preservatives.
Where can I find these?
All bodies. Oh, asking for a friend, are you? All bodies taste good is what that says on the bottom.
Oh, gosh.
I don't think
Wow.
I don't. I press X to do. They're kettle chips.
Oh, okay.
Amazing. Okay. Now that our advertisement for Chaz is over, welcome back, everybody.
Can I
Hi.
Yeah, go
make
for
an
it.
appeal?
Hello.
For
Oh,
what?
recently-
Pussy chips?
No, entirely. Oh, hold on to your lily white butt. Sorry, that wasn't nice of me. Okay. So, New Zealand has recently had Cyclone Gabriel go through North Island, and it has left around 4,500 people displaced from their homes, with their homes submerged under silt, mud, water. So they have lost everything. They don't even have their documents on them, and we have lost some lives also. Now, New Zealand's Prime Minister has
Whoops.
said that. Whoops, it's okay. New Zealand's Prime Minister has said that they will open themselves to international aid, and I think so. I'll try and find out links for you guys where try and verify like legit organizations that might be trying to help. So if you want to contribute towards that aid, you can, but just be aware of scammers, because a lot of scamming websites claiming to be collecting funds for international aid might pop up, and you might end up just sending money somewhere else. So if you can in some way find a way to help people in New Zealand, please do. Yeah, just an appeal. Yeah, that's me. Thanks.
Awesome sauce. Alright. You guys ready to jump back into this?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do it.
Okay, sweet. By the way, is anybody drinking anything special? I just got Sleeman's Original.
No.
I have Don't Be Dumbass tea from this amazing mug that you can find
Yay.
in the
Nice.
description.
Did you
Down
know I
below.
have merch? I have merch. You can find it down below. Take a goblin with you. It goes in your pocket. Alright. Court records show a pattern of allegations made against Jones by boys. While looking after two young boys from his church in 2001, one of the boys got mud on his clothing. Quote, well, the 7-year-old was naked. Jones put him over his laugh and hit him on the buttocks, a court found. In 2004, Jones befriended 3 other boys aged 9, 11, and 12. Quote, defendant, Jones, told them before they watched the movie that they had to play strip poker, end quote. A court decision reads, quote, defendant produced a deck of cards and explained the game to the boys. He dealt the cards and told the boys who won or lost each hand. Oh, except without the rules! And directed the losers to take off some clothes. The boys did as instructed. Alex M. remembered he and Anthony M. stripped down to their underwear. Anthony M. remembered only himself getting naked. E.G. remembered the other 2 boys stripped him naked and took off their own shirts. During the game, E.G. noticed defendant's dick was getting larger and you can see it through his pants. Ew.
Yeah.
I am actually triggered by this. Holy shit.
By the way, that's
This
the
is-
incident that Kent Hovind admits happened and then just said, what's the big deal?
Oh my god.
Oh,
It's
Kent.
unacceptable.
You insufferable asshole.
No. He's not even an asshole. He has gone beyond that point now.
Yeah.
He's trying to minimize the trauma these kids have gone through. Like, what a piece of, like, I don't know, under the belly of hell kind of shit you are, that you're going to justify and you're trying to minimize the trauma, what these kids have gone
Well, he's just
through.
saying that it's not problematic. It's full on denial. It's not even justification. It's just saying that he sees no
minimizing,
problem. He sees no problem with an adult man taking advantage of underage boys.
Yeah,
Essentially,
like-
he's a Catholic priest.
Pretty
oh
much.
yeah.
Tell him to
Yeah.
run to the Vatican.
Shame on you, buddy. No, you're not my buddy. No. Shame on you. You fucking piece of shit. Fucking piece of shit.
Did you see Chris in bed with a kid? Question mark. One Dal resident asked a ministry elder in the recording. Jones was convicted of 3 charges of lewd acts on children for the strip poker game and an act of battery for the nude spanking. Jones was acquitted on other charges, including 2 more counts of lewd behavior towards children in the case of 2 other boys and showing porn to a minor. An early version of the criminal complaint also included a count of possessing child pornography, although the count was dropped in an amended complaint. Jones did not respond to repeated requests for comments. When Billy Summers visited Dal as a guest in 2017, he learned of Hovind's close friendship with Jones after mentioning that he lived in Aiken, South California. Hovind replied that he knew a man from the area who sometimes visited Dal. Unprompted, Summers says, Hovind began explaining that Jones was a convicted child sex offender, but that the charges were trumped up, and that Jones had merely been playing strip poker with children.
Merely?
Oh, is that
merely?
Are you kidding?
That word's doing a lot of work.
You vacuous
That's not when you use that
dyspeptic
word.
nincompoop fucking piece of shit.
All of the above.
Look, saying merely in front of saying the crime that somebody did doesn't really help all that much when you're trying to defend them from the crime you just said they did.
I do, there's a little bit in here that you'll notice that he unprompted brings this up and then immediately starts defending it and then immediately is like, it's not a big deal.
It's is it Kent, do you have a conscience? Do you have a
No,
conscience?
he's
Maybe
God.
That's what
I don't think he does.
That's what getting nagged. That's why you felt the need to explain it to someone or
He
justify
doesn't
it
have
to someone.
No, he doesn't have a conscience because he's Jesus, and so the Holy Spirit is out with other people and not with himself.
Oh, the Holy Spirit took the conscience with him.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Cool.
That's the lore.
I'm not sure how the theology works out there.
I don't know either.
I'm
To be
like,
fair, I don't think Kent knows either. He's not exactly a deep thinker.
Ew, big
No.
brain.
No.
Letty said merely slaughtered an entire town. This is
Right.
this is something like a D&D player would say when they're like, "Oh, come on, like I only committed 5 or 6 war crimes during my game." No, it's
Yeah,
fine.
Fred Durbin says, I didn't commit vehicular manslaughter. I merely ran them over with my car. Yeah,
Yeah, there
also
you go.
accurate.
So Robert Madwell has a good point. From the live chat, they say I would say that Kent is more responsible than Jones because Kent put Jones in a position that puts him in contact with children. Kent knew.
Oh, it gets better.
I'm-
Maybe we'll get to the audio because if we get to the audio clip, we hear Kent talking about this, and it's like almost spooky.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go for it. Let's go.
Hovind, quote, said something like, but he, Jones, stopped at their underwear, so they did nothing wrong, end quote, Summers recalls. Okay.
Oh.
After returning home from Dal, Summers remained perturbed about Hovind's self-proclaimed friendship with Jones. He called Hovind with his concerns. A recording of the call, reviewed by the Daily Beast, shows Hovind painting Jones as a persecuted victim of the New World Order. John's got a job at, quote, Bohemian Grove. That's where they make all their plans for the New World Order, end quote. Hovind says on the recording, quote, he got a job there in a video and videotaped a bunch of stuff and they wanted him in prison, end quote. Conspiracy theory level.
I'm going to say
No, it's an actual
parents-
conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Yeah, like Dapper said that if someone's volunteering to take your kid to the that Dal Park, whatever you want to call it, DAL, don't.
Dinosaur Adventureland.
And this is you like don't put your children in harm's way with this guy on the site. Don't do that, please. Don't. I'm not saying go and harass.
If something has happened to your child at Dinosaur Adventureland, it is kind of your fault. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't
for
take
not
your
doing
kids there.
research. Yeah. Don't. Trigger warning.
A subject of fascination for early 2000s conspiracy theorists, Bohemian Grove is a site of an annual meetup for the rich and powerful bracket. During a 2021 DAL meeting, a recording of which was reviewed by the Daily Beast, Jones claimed to have provided footage of the Grove to InfoWars founder Alex Jones, who he says used it in a documentary. Alex Jones's assistant declined to state whether the InfoWars boss used Chris Jones's footage because we don't talk to demtards.
Amazing.
Kent Hovind and his friends are demtards?
No. Alex Jones's people were calling the Daily Beast demtards.
Oh, demtards. Oh, I thought he was saying that.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Got it. Helios for 5 said, this is a bit off topic for the stream, but extremely on topic for Fekk Friday. Magic the Gathering just co-sponsored a bill to eliminate the
Marjorie
Department
Taylor
of Education.
Green.
together.
I almost made it. Marjorie Taylor Greene just co-sponsored a bill to eliminate the Department of Education. Yeah, that sounds like her.
Yeah, that sounds right.
What is wrong with these people? What is going on in America?
We're in America. We don't need no education.
Like, they call India a third world country. I think so. America is on its way to becoming a third world country now. Seriously.
Summers was not convinced by Hovind's explanation and made a YouTube video about his concerns. Why don't you have that linked? Oh, because it got removed. Hovind soon called him and demanded the video's removal, voicemails revealed. Jones also called Summers blaming his arrest on the New World Order and downplaying his conviction. Quote, my actual crime, you want to know what the technical crime was? Jones asked on a voicemail reviewed by the Daily Beast, quote, it was throwing an 11-year-old boy in the pool in his underwear. That's my big sex crime. Jones went on to note that, quote, even if I am guilty, hopefully the blood of Christ works. Oh my god!
But he doesn't even know if he's guilty?
He doesn't even know if he's not very convinced about Jesus.
Ugh.
Hey,
This is the definition of the argument that I see atheists use sometimes when it comes to Christianity, when they say when Christians respond or talk to atheists about whether or not they have morals and they're immoral, because there's no God, they can do whatever they want. This is the counter argument to that. And here's an example of somebody actually using it unprompted, because it's not about the argumentation. This dude is actually like, I can do whatever I want because Jesus is gonna forgive me in the end.
Yeah. I'm gonna repent.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, well, if he's not repenting sincerely, then obviously he's going to hell. Dude, the crime already happened. There's a kid that's harmed. It doesn't matter whether he repents or not. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he's
His current
repeating
religious...
that same mistake, that same thing again and again, that same crime again and again. Like, yeah, okay, there are people who
keeps
talk about
happening.
reformation and stuff. Okay, that's one thing. But when you have an adult like this guy committing the same act again and again with different children, it's pathological, and they don't deserve any. I don't think so. They deserve any kind of, what do you say? Chance.
Well, I think the guy just doesn't know what the word repent means, because repent means you're actually sorry.
Yeah.
And then you stop.
Right,
Yeah,
and you
and
don't
change
do
the
it
behavior.
again.
It's not-
Right.
It's not stopping.
This is what my problem is. It's about thought crime, right? Who's going to judge you that whether you're sincere or not? Not humans. Humans cannot, right? Only you know how sincere you are. Or maybe if you sit down, like Shesh said, get help, maybe then the person who's diagnosing you with something or helping you with your
You can prove
might
that
be
you're
able to tell.
sincere. You can prove that you're sincere by taking action. That is in line with whatever you're being sincere about.
Here
Here's
nothing.
one thing though.
Oh,
I
he
don't
took the
care
blood of
how
Christ.
sincere
Okay.
Yeah.
a convicted sex offender who offended against children is. They should never be allowed near children ever again, even
Right.
if they're completely
Yeah.
sincere, because there are some things that aren't worth the risk.
Exactly.
That's fair.
And you know what? I'm not saying that no one has ever been a registered sex offender and then changed their ways and not been in danger. That doesn't mean you should take the risk, or that
There's
you should put
also-
your family members in risk.
There's also a wide berth of what sex offender means. This person actually went after and assaulted children, allegedly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
has been convicted for a few things in regards to children at this point. And so we're not because you can be a sex offender because you have like an indecent exposure on your record because you got drunk and pissed on the side of a building, right? That is, these are clearly not equivalent.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what that had to do with your point. I'm sure something. You're right that like you shouldn't be allowed around children. I just think that the law is open-ended in the case of the terminology that we use, and maybe more specific language would be helpful. At least you're not questioning that. The blood of Christ works, man. We're all forgiven and cleaned up. No, you're not. Because you haven't repented, period. I don't need to argue anything further than that. Among Dal residents, Summers' video contributed to a creeping awareness of Jones's past. By November 2019, when Jones made one of his occasional visits to Dal, residents were uneasy. Shunk, Hovind's then secretary, called Hovind coming into her office and explaining that Jones was innocent, but that people were freaking out. Quote, I go outside and yeah, people with kids there are taking their kids off the property, Shunk said. People are super mad. One father told his wife to grab their kids, put them in their cabin. Mark Stoney grabbed his child, went off campus. So did many other parents with their children. They left. Good job. Good parenting.
Yeah,
I applaud your good parenting.
That means that despite being in a cult, you still have some level of awareness of how to keep your family safe. That's good.
That is good.
Yeah. And like the video worked. So that's also another thing. It reached out to the people it was supposed to reach out, the primary people who it was supposed to reach out to. So good job, I guess, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, and one thing to remember, and this is something that I think we've both talked, Chesh and I, with Cindy about, both on air and off air, is that Ken's victims aren't, a bunch of atheists, right? The people he poses a danger to are other Christians.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems that, say my channel or Chesh's channel might have trouble with, is that my guess is that we don't reach a whole lot of Christians. We probably proportionally reach fewer Christians than non-Christians. But they're the ones who need to be warned about this. And that's why I'm glad that Mark Stoney and other former Dinosaur Adventureland people are coming at this from a standpoint of like, hey, Christians, this is something to worry about. Don't trust this guy. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
Quote, he's got a right to wrestle with a kid if he wants, and you've got a right to say, I'm not getting around Chris. Okay, we'll get to that when we actually get to it, because that's a whole lot of no, I think. Right?
He's got a right to wrestle with the kid if he wants.
He doesn't, not now that he's a registered sex offender. Mm-mm.
Ask about Jones. Hovind told the Daily Beast that Jones had done nothing wrong either in his criminal case or at Dal. Quote, he come to visit here twice, I think, never spends the night, Hovind said. But Joneses did spend the night near Dal during the November 2019 visit. Quote, oh, that's right, Hovind recalled when reminded of the incident. They did spend one night here. They were Jones and a young boy whose name the Daily Beast is withholding. Shunk, I'm okay with that, by the way. Good. Yeah, withhold that kid's name. Shunk, who greeted them on arrival, noted that they did not appear to be related. Jones was white, the 11-year-old traveling with him was black. Uneasy, Shunk went to make 2 beds for the visitors in a dorm-style guest room. Hovind intervened, she said. No, she remembered Hovind saying, they're gonna go stay in the house next door. Asked whether he overruled Shunk, Hovind told the Daily Beast that I don't recall that at all. We have 25-some cabin space here. I gotta go for my Bible study now. That's awfully convenient, Kent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When
he does come back.
Listen,
so
yes.
If
give
Christians who kind of like think that all the Christians who follow like Kent, please wake up. Please wake up. This is problematic. And if you support a person like this, there's a reason why people group all the Christians together who like, for example, who don't stand up to Catholic Church and all that. Because when you support guys like these, people don't trust you anymore, man. You gotta stop. Yeah, there are other better Christians out there, I'm sure, that you can support. Not this guy though.
Yeah, this isn't
it's
an
hard
argument.
To be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, this is an argument about, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, like you'll hear what's his face, Jordan Peterson facetiously say. Because you can throw out all of Kent Hovind and lose nothing of value, because anything of value that he brings you can get from somewhere else that is better and not going to assault your children.
Yeah, you want to follow creationism, fine. You want to debunk evolution, fine. Okay,
as far as I know, Ken Ham does not have an issue with pedophiles on his arc.
Yeah, he has some problems, but they're not that bad.
They're not that kind of problem. So if you have to pick one or the other. When he
his
returned,
biggest problem, as far as I can tell, is he's a shitty boss, but not a enabling sex crimes boss, which is a much more extreme kind of thing.
When he returned from the group Bible study, Hovind said Jones had stayed off campus. Hovind handed the phone to another Dal resident who said Jones and the boy had stayed in a nearby house that was being managed by a Dal elder. The house, that sounds all kinds of confusing, convoluted nonsense and technicality.
Yeah, that's how he gets away with, well, Jones wasn't technically on Dinosaur Adventureland. It's like, okay, well, where was he? Oh, he's on this house that is owned by someone who lives in Dinosaur Adventureland and is currently being under the management of a board member of Dinosaur Adventureland. And I have control over who stays there, but technically it's not on the same parcel of land as Dinosaur Adventureland, so I'm in the clear.
Right.
Like, oh, okay.
Sure you are. The house was just off Dal property and has been owned by a series of Dal associates. Shunk and her husband had briefly stayed there and were nearly finished moving out. The only thing left in the building was a queen-size mattress. She said Hovind wanted Jones and the boy to share the bed. I said, Dr. Hovind, they can't do that. It's inappropriate, Shunk said. And he's like, it's fine, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, don't worry about a thing. I got everything handled. You just go home and be with your husband. I'll see you tomorrow. I said, fine, and I left. And so to this day, I'm gonna be honest with you, I should have called the police.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Inaction is also
It's gross.
not good.
There's something super special about going out of your way to provide your friend a space to assault children.
Yeah, nah.
To whatever degree.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
There's enabling.
This is beyond enabling. This is like, I have specifically created a space that is safe. Right, you're providing facilities, you're providing a location where you're going to shirk liability and responsibility and say, well, telling employees who are like, this is problematic, that, no, you've got this handled, and then when asked about it, you're just going to be like, well, it's not my problem, it wasn't on the property.
It's a matter of fact, like, I'm the boss, I'm in charge. He does it authoritatively, too. It's repulsive.
Yeah, enabling is like ignoring and like kind of being like, oh, well, his conviction is bullshit. That's enabling. Facilitating is a much better word. Asked whether Jones and the boy shared a bed, Hovind told the Daily Beast that he didn't recall. Quote, I was not in the room with them, he said, adding, I'll give him that.
Were you there?
I might not know. I wasn't in the room. I only facilitated them one bed between the two of them.
Yeah. In fact, he objected when the option of a second bed was brought up.
Right.
You could get them two beds. No.
No.
And Jones definitely slept on the sofa, on the couch. Definitely slept on the couch.
What couch?
Remember, the only thing left in the house was the one queen-size mattress because the residents had already been moving out. That's
so there was no
only
couch.
Furniture that was there.
Oh my god.
The kids' options were the bed or the floor.
Or the floor.
Because it's literally the only things in the house.
He said, adding that the child is very emotionally unstable. I understand it wasn't on Dinosaur Adventureland property, but if child said, quote, hey, I'm scared, can I sleep with you? I don't know that happened, but I don't see. Chris is not a pedophile, if that's what you or anyone else is driving at.
Yes, he is.
I mean, it's definitely what everyone's driving at.
Okay, if he wasn't not there, if he's making that claim that he wasn't there, then how does he know that the child said that I'm scared, can I sleep with you?
He's making up reasons and justifications as to why an adult and a child might sleep in the same bed. in cases of like parenting, of being the actual guardian or parent of a child who is not already a registered child sex offender, you can have a totally wholesome relationship in which a child sleeps in the same bed as an adult. That's not even weird. You know what's weird? Kent Hovind and his buddy Chris and how defensive he is about him. Why the hell has he not thrown Chris under the goddamn bus?
It's possible Chris has something on him.
Chris has some of those video recordings. Look out.
It's possible. Yeah.
I would not be shocked if there were not some video recordings of Kent engaging in activity that he's said on the record is deserving of a death penalty. Let's just say that. I'll leave it there.
No one the Daily Beast spoke to made any similar allegations about the child's emotional state. He, quote, is one of the best kids I know, his mother told the Daily Beast. I just happen to be his mother. I mean, okay, yeah, everybody's mom thinks they're the greatest, whatever, except for some, probably. Yeah. But, like, the child is very emotionally unstable. You mean he was unstable at Dinosaur Adventureland, in which case was the only time that you interacted with this child when he was being taken advantage of by a child predator?
Yeah, it was like,
I mean,
okay, the child, why is an unstable child with a known sex offender?
And I'm just taking Kent at his word, right? Kent knew this guy. Well, Kent knew that this guy was a child predator, and then knew that this guy showed up with a child that was underage, and then facilitated him staying in the same house together in a house that only had one bed in it, and then decided to call the child unstable. So
I want to say one thing. I did see the video.
Haven't we
heard of Michael Jackson?
No, that's a whole other thing. Go ahead, go Dapper.
So, the night that this occurred, before, Chris and this kid, who, we'll keep anonymous, the night before, that night before they actually went to the house, Kent Hovind did a live stream on his now deleted channel. I've seen that video. And as far as I can tell, the kid was present in the room the entire time, and the only quote-unquote unstable thing that happened was that when he was called to be on camera, he was shy and didn't want to be on camera. But then, I'm not going to say Kent, dragged him, but he definitely took him and was, leading him by the arm to get on camera to say hi to the camera.
He wasn't taking notes or anything there.
Yeah, but, this kid wasn't screaming. He didn't cry. There was no, oh, this kid is just, a wild card. You never know what he's going to do. He's so emotionally unstable. Now, could he be? I don't know. Is it a good excuse? Also, no.
It's the opposite of a good excuse. And that's the thing. Let's assume we take Kent at his word. Saying that this kid is emotionally unstable is a reason why he ought not be put in the same location or general area of a convicted child predator, Kent.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a point in your favor.
No, it's not.
This is the same thing that I've seen this a handful of times, and I see this on the internet. Every so often it crops up of somebody says something somebody else disagree with, or somebody puts somebody else in an awkward position, and that person says, oh, well, they're mentally unstable, as if it's an excuse. Meanwhile, you've been accepting, lewd images and pictures and videos and nudes of the person, and it's if you actually thought that they were mentally unstable and not capable of having that kind of a relationship, then you ought not to be taking shit from them in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. Oh, boy. Yeah, don't communicate with them at all. Why do you have them in your life? Oh god.
Dow residents learned to take advantage of them. That's the answer. To take advantage. This is taking advantage of a very emotionally unstable child. Period. According to Kent.
Long.
So this is assuming what he's saying is accurate and true. This is Kent, an adult, going out of his way to allow and enable and facilitate another adult to take advantage of whether or not any actual, sex took place, penetration took place. You're still allowing this person who is a convicted child predator to be in and around this child who is emotionally unstable alone,
Yeah,
with no supervision whatsoever, let alone at all. Bro, this is not a good defense.
Not good.
Nuh-uh. Oye.
Not okay.
Yeah. God.
Dow residents learned... Freaking sorry, I went off. Dow residents learned a little bit about Jones's visit at the time, but for some, his presence was the final straw. Quote, I had told Kent, whoops. This is a bigger problem we need to be able to deal with, Stoney said. If Chris comes back, I'll be leaving. When Jones returned in January of 2021, Stoney kept his word. The day after Stoney's departure, HOVIND held a meeting with Dow residents and Jones in an attempt to allay concerns about Jones's past. A recording of the meeting appears to confirm some allegations about Jones's activity at Dow. Quote, did you see Chris in bed with a kid? One Dow resident asked a ministry elder in the recording. Quote, I've seen Chris wrestling with a kid, which I didn't think was appropriate, because when there's any slightness of that sex offense convictions, you don't do that.
Slightness? That's a yes or no. Was there such a conviction? You can't be slightly convicted of a crime. That's not how it works.
Slightly? What's slightly convicted?
Exactly.
God.
Quote, I'm pretty sure, the elder responds, quote, I'm pretty sure I did. I told Chris no more of that, end quote. The man goes on to explain, quote, I was mad at Chris because I got up. I said, Chris, what's he in your bed for? You've got these charges. What the heck are you in bed with a kid for? Completely dressed, end quote. That's like a tag on the end of that. What are you in bed? What are you in bed for the kid for? Completely dressed.
By the way, completely dressed. Okay.
Quote, the way people say things, HOVIND interjects, that he was in bed with a child, there is a way to make it sound worse than it is. Kent.
Yeah, it's all pretty bad though, even if you don't try to make it worse.
Yeah.
There's some things you don't need to make
it's
worse.
not bad.
You don't have to try. It sounds bad, any way you flip it. When Dow members complained that the situation looked bad in light of Jones's convictions, HOVIND argued, listen, let's take the convictions out of it, right? Let's take the conviction, let's pretend these convictions didn't happen and say, an adult at Dinosaur Adventureland brought a child who wasn't his to Adventureland. It was an emotionally unstable child that was then left and forced to sleep with this adult chaperone that they brought with them. That made everybody uncomfortable. That's not good!
No. If people around you are getting uncomfortable and they're getting their kids out of there, that should be the biggest red flag and an indication to you that you are in the wrong and you're doing something wrong. But obviously Kent HOVIND is never wrong, right?
Right.
No, he
How
can't.
dare parents protect their children? How dare they?
Quote, that's Chris's decision and the kid's decision.
What? Kid? Okay.
No.
All right.
You just can't make those decisions. They're too young.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm going to finish the paragraph. Wait, I'm going to finish the paragraph, then Monty can go. How people here react to that is their decision. He's got a right to wrestle with a kid if he wants, and you've got the right to say, I'm not getting around Chris. Okay, go, Monty.
Kids cannot give consent. There's a reason why this guy asked his mother whether he could take the kid to DAL, right? Kids cannot give consent, and no, Chris doesn't have a right to wrestle with any kid. No. That's not a right.
Kid doesn't know what... Could you imagine every adult just has the right to wrestle any child, and so every so often I like to go over to the preschool and like just throw some kids around, because I was just feeling like it that day, and then I left.
Yeah, you have
I just felt like beating on some kids.
Yeah, look, it's the 11th Amendment, I think, in the Bill of Rights, right? Every American just has the right to wrestle some kids, apparently. That's just how it works.
Oh no! Maybe that should be. Maybe that should be a right. Maybe it should be everybody's right to go walk into like a 4th grade class and like pick up a kid and throw him across the room
Yeah.
with no prompting.
All right, guys,
But,
let's start a petition or whatever to get a constitutional amendment. We need a constitutional amendment in the U.S. to make it a constitutional right to wrestle a kid every once in a while.
Oh god. No.
Oh no. Ben, you got anything to add to this one?
Well, it's like what Manya was saying. Like, no, kids cannot consent, and Kent should know that.
I think Kent knows. He just
does
doesn't
know
care.
better. He just
Yeah,
doesn't
he
care.
Yeah.
Later in the meeting, a Dal secretary complains that Jones is harming the theme park's reputation with families. That's fair.
Yeah.
During Jones's previous stay, a mother of 6 children had called about a visit, but explicitly asked whether Jones is present. Quote, I changed the topic. Okay. And I did not want to lie, but then I didn't want to tell the truth because I didn't know what to do, so I changed the topic, the secretary says. She realized that I did that, and she said, quote, that answered my question, we won't be coming there anymore. Good.
Good for her.
Yeah. After
Yeah.
some
Good
discussion,
thing.
a ministry elder announced that going forward, quote, if somebody calls the ministry says, is Chris there, simply say, the elders have got together, they've investigated it thoroughly, he's welcome here, and we take all precautions for anybody visiting here. Bullshit! You don't take any
don't take any
precautions for
precautions.
anybody, for anything.
At
We
your
have an
own
example.
risk.
Yeah, we have an example here where
Same
you're
thing.
overriding some people's decisions where they're trying to protect children. So yeah, fuck off.
Including the
Fuck
secretary, including Cindy, including
Yeah.
the other guy, Stoney.
It's like isn't it like AI? They're like, oh yeah, we created a problem, we investigated ourselves, and we are
We
fine.
have found that we did nothing wrong. Yay!
Yeah.
Big surprise.
Fuck.
Woo! But the matter was far from closed. Stoney, newly removed from Dal and upset about Jones's presence, began looking for the child who'd shared a bed with Jones in late 2019. By summer 2022, Stoney made contact with the boy's mother. I go outside, and yeah, people with kids, they're taking their kids off the property. People are super mad. In a Facebook Messenger call that Stoney shared to YouTube in June, I need to find this dude's YouTube channel. The boy's mother claimed that Jones touched her son's genitals through a paper towel during the Dal trip. Reached for comment, the boy's mother told the Daily Beast that Jones had been her boss at a Boost Mobile store, and that he sometimes volunteered to take 2 of her 7 children to the mall. That's so weird! That's so weird.
That's taking advantage of a mother who's working. So he's like, oh yeah, I'll come in and I'll take.
Well,
care
why
of
are
the
you only
boys."
taking 2 of them? Red flag to me. That's a red flag to me.
2 of her 7 children? Yeah. Fuck.
When
my
he
life.
offered to take her son to Dal, she
To the
agreed,
mall.
reasoning that Jones had never posed a problem to her children before. Reason fair. But she began to have misgivings after the boy arrived at the theme park, where she said Jones and Hovind called and asked for permission for her son to share a bed. What?
Oh, so okay.
I don't know if
All
it's
right.
better or worse that they're just openly like, oh hey, can this guy just sleep in the same bed as your son? What? No.
I said, no, that's
No.
not okay, she told the Daily Beast during a 2021 meeting with Dal members. Jones defended his sharing the bed with the boy by claiming that he had called the boy's mother, who he said had granted permission. 5 days after
She's
her
saying,
son
I
returned...
said no.
Yeah. 5 days after her son returned from Dal, she said he told her he was confused about what he experienced at the park. That's putting it lightly. Fair?
It gets darker than you're thinking.
I believe it. I
Yeah.
said, what happened to you? Your face is almost pale, and you feel like you need to say something, but you're scared. Her son told her that Jones had touched his privates with a paper towel, and that he was also frightened of his total lack of a memory of one night in the room.
Oh my.
Yeah,
fucking
so there's a
God.
fair
Yeah.
chance this kid was roofied by Chris Jones.
Roofied at best, and not just trauma of the totality of the event, right? I would almost argue that roofied might be the best option in this case, because that's not the only one.
When your best case scenario is kid was roofied, you're in
Right?
a pretty dark place.
Yeah, we're in a dark place. In
Yeah.
June, shortly after connecting with Stoney, the boy's mother filed a complaint with the sheriff in Aiken County, South Carolina, where Jones lives. A redacted version of the police report, obtained via a Freedom of Information request, states that the mother called the sheriff. That would have, like, the names of the child redacted and stuff.
Right.
States that the mother called the sheriff's office and stated that Jones, quote, pulled redacted victim's pants, that's the child's name, victim's pants down along with his underwear and touched his private area with a paper towel. RO, responding officer, has no further information at this time. If police conducted any further investigation, it does not appear in the FOIA version of the report. On August 16th, the case status was charged to closed. Okay, do you guys think that the Alabama police have any kind of conspiracy with Kent?
No.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because we've seen that with Scientology, but Kent is definitely not that big, at least not right now.
So the thing with Scientology, right, is the way that they do that is by donating heavily to things like police unions and police balls and things like that, and doing things like trying to get city council members elected who are going to be friendly to them. So, like, there's some greasing the wheels. Kent is in a situation where the local police are antagonistic to him, but also afraid of going onto his property, because they know how well armed people are there, and they don't want to be shot. I don't think Kent is greasing the wheels there, but the other thing is, unfortunately, unless it's reported very soon and you have pretty good evidence, sex crimes are hard to prove.
Yes.
It's hard to get enough evidence to secure a conviction because there usually isn't much evidence. And what he's been accused, and what Chris Jones was accused of in this case, given that it was probably weeks later, what evidence is going to be available? If the kid was roofied, it's not going to show up anymore in any blood work or anything.
Yeah.
How do you demonstrate that someone touched someone else through a paper towel? I mean, that paper towel almost certainly doesn't exist anymore, and even if it did,
what's it going to
how
prove?
easy would it be? Right, exactly. So I think the thing that happened is just that they couldn't get enough evidence to overturn, like, the beyond a reasonable doubt standard of evidence for a conviction, and so unfortunately I think that's where this is going to stop. That doesn't mean that Chris Jones didn't do this. It doesn't mean the kid is lying. It doesn't mean that what happened is appropriate, even if this didn't happen. Because remember, you're still having a convicted sex offender who's not allowed near children, going to Dinosaur Adventureland, sleeping in the same bed with a child, while that fact is known to the person who's in charge of the property.
Yeah.
Who is Kent, in case that wasn't clear.
Right. Hovind denied knowledge of the police report. Quote, I've never heard of that report. He told the Daily Beast, quote, had to accuse him of something to put him in jail because of his political stance. That's not... Okay, there are ways to get somebody for their political stance, right? And it's usually, like, something facetious or something, like, minor that is just, like, here's an excuse to put you in jail. That's not what this is. This is detailed. This is specific. This is an ongoing problem that was being had by multiple people in your flock. So, like, when your own flock is turning against you in what is going on, this isn't somebody's out to get you. This is you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy.
Yet, in a voicemail uploaded to YouTube by a Hovind acquaintance, the preacher appears to acknowledge a crime complaint. In the voicemail, Hovind complains that the boy, quote, is pressing charges against Chris Jones. This whole drama is never gonna quit, brother. Just completely ignore them. It's not drama. Oh my god.
Oh I don't know how many fucks I'm going to say now with each sentence to start.
Yeah, look, I know that this channel has had this discussion before. Drama is not things like someone's long-term financial well-being, or actual violent crimes committed against them, or molestation. Those are not drama. Those are important things that need to be addressed. Drama is like when someone on YouTube said that they don't like your hair, and so you get pissy about it. That's drama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you get your refund and someone's like, oh, you committed fraud.
Yeah, right. Hovind says, he says something...
I had to do that, sorry.
Hovind says, he says something indistinct, then adds, quote, a bunch of morons. Hovind told the Daily Beast that he did not remember the voicemail or its context. Quote, I do not, he said. Quote, but you know, what happens in the rest of the world I can't control, and nothing happened here. If Chris did anything inappropriately, first of all, I don't believe that for a second, but if he did, or maybe it's an allegation. Of course it's an allegation. Maybe it's an allegation. It has to be an allegation by definition, but whatever. Then you need to...
maybe?
Yeah, then you need to talk to him, not me. It didn't happen here, and we have nothing to do with it. Well, what happened to that whole bit of you telling the secretary that you got this, and it's all under control, and you have all these protections in place? How about you tell us what those protections are? Stoney and the child's...
I am in charge.
I am in charge. Stoney and the child's mother said that they have spoken with investigators about the case. Quote, I ain't gonna say no allegation because my son don't have no reason to lie, his mother said. At all. As DAL members fought over the presence of Chris Jones at the Adventure Park, another scandal was rolling the community, one that concerned DAL's tech guy Steve Lincoln and former DAL resident Jody Pittenger told Daily Beast that Lynn tampered with a drug test that Hovind required for compound residents. When Lincoln and Stoney reported their concerns to Hovind at the time, they said they were accused of fomenting rebellion?
Fomenting?
It's the only thing you can foment. It's literally to stir up, but only for rebellion. The only thing you can foment is rebellion.
It's
one of the stupidest words in English.
Causing a shitstorm.
That sounds really redundant. Against the DAL leader, which set off the deteriorations of Lincoln's marriage. Reached via phone, Lynn denied to comment, asking to answer questions via email. He did not return answers to questions submitted via email. Is Steve... Is Steve the tech guy the one who allegedly had a sexual relationship with Kent?
Well, I want to point out that the primary person alleging that is me, and I do have good reason to allege it, but I don't want to make it seem like that's a big thing that everyone is saying.
Okay.
But yes.
Yeah. It's that guy. All right.
Yes.
Nevertheless, by 2021, Lynn had admitted to drug use in court records. In August of that year, Lynn was arrested for alleged car theft. While disputing the charge in court, Lynn filed an affidavit blaming the incident on temporary drug field delusions. Quote, so basically everything Cindy has ever said about this situation is correct, despite what Ken Hovind has tried to say.
By Steve's own admission. Right.
So it wasn't any kind of rebellion against Kent. It was Steve did bad, and Cindy tattled on him. Quote, I affirm that at the time and date of the offense, Lynn wrote, I was under a drug-induced necessity or duress, mistakenly believing that my adult son, who lives in Missouri, had somehow come to Alabama and was in Monroeville Walmart, desperately needing my help, and I abandoned my $45,000 Jeep with the keys in it and running in the Marvin's parking lot when I took another man's truck, likely valued at about $10,000, that had its keys in it and drove it to Monroeville Walmart, and I parked it where I had ran inside, and this false but very real to me at the time mental duress was still ongoing when and where I was arrested inside Walmart, and I did not resist the officer's arrest.
What? Press extra doubt.
No, I believe him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he were so drugged out of his mind that he thought that his son was in trouble in a Walmart.
I mean, I would imagine that as a parent and knowing anything about Kent Hovind, knowing that my child is in Alabama would immediately cause me concern. Audio recordings from DAL meetings shortly after his arrest, reviewed by the Daily Beast, reveal Hovind acknowledging Lynn's drug use. Oh, so Hovind was conspiring against Cindy. That thing that Dapper said earlier. Surprise,
To be fair, this did happen after the drug test.
Right.
So when there was the accusation of the rebellion, this thing with Steve, where he was arrested and he himself admitted to the drug use, had not happened yet.
Yeah, but we're just gonna go with he had one drug bender that went bad and definitely was never using drugs
obviously
before
not.
that.
I'm just saying that before this, Kent did have
at
at least a
timeline.
plausible... Yeah, he had at least some plausible deniability because, well, it had not been admitted in court yet that Steve was using drugs, but also, from what I understand, it was a bit of an open secret that when new people came on, often they partied at Steve's place for a while because he was the one who had the booze and the drugs.
Did Kent ever apologize to Cindy? Not that she would necessarily want his apology.
As far as I know, he has not offered an apology. I mean, obviously they're not talking to each other because they're involved in more than one legal case,
Right.
where they're both, adversarial.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he hasn't made a public statement about that. But then again, I wouldn't expect him to until after those cases are done, because public apologies, at least in the U.S., can be seen as admissions of guilt. I know that doesn't work in Canada because of how polite Canadians are.
Well, I mean,
but
like
in the US,
before
it
their
can work.
marriage fell apart. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
no.
Okay. Quote, Steve messed up, he got back into drugs, no question, he blew it, Hovind tells congregates who express concern about Lynn's arrest. He goes on to explain that, quote, because of the drug he was on, he was hallucinating, he thought the cops were after him. Well, that's funny, that's not what he said. So he didn't get in his car, he got in another car and took off. Okay.
It's called stealing still, though. Like, Kent knows that.
Yeah.
Look, here's a pro tip to everybody. In legal matters, and I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, evading arrest is not a good excuse for stealing a car, at least in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no.
We are almost at the end of this, so let's power through the last little bit. After Lynn's arrest, Hovind sent followers to clear out Lynn's house. Trevor Gifford, a former Dow resident, told the Daily Beast that he was on campus that night. Quote, I was leaving there in a week, so I wasn't invited to the plunder, but I remember that night very well. Gifford wrote via text. Yeah, message.
Sorry, I just love that.
That he used the word plunder.
Yes.
Well.
He continued
Such
that.
a great word.
Quote, I didn't see them leave, but I did see them return to Dow with the trailers full of stuff from Steve's house. The late-night operation left some Dow residents wondering about the raid's legality. During the meeting, Dow residents pushed Hovind on whether they were legally allowed to remove items from Lynn's house, especially because some might belong to Lynn's non-Dow clients. Quote, if he works for 15 other companies, how do you know all the stuff was CSEs? One Dow worker said on the recording in reference to Hovind's ministry, Christian Science Evangelism. Another audio recording by former Dow carpenter Jeff Gubser, reviewed by the Daily Beast, shows Gubster raising concerns about the raid. Quote, these things are legally questionable, like cops questionable. Gubster tells Hovind in the recording. Like what? Hovind replies. Like being over at Steve's, we're cleaning out the house with your sign, your phone number on the side of the van. Do you not think these southern people talk? You don't think they see his face in the picture, a mugshot of Lynn in the newspaper? Then they see your van outside of his house? Doc, you gotta start making better decisions. He's ordained by God, how dare you? Hovind confirmed to the Daily Beast that he had sent Dow workers to clear out the house. He gave the phone to a Dow resident who said they'd emptied the building because due to hallucinations, Lynn thought police were gonna go there and ransack the place. So I ransacked it first!
Hey, buddy, I ransacked it for you. You would rather trust me than the police to ransack the place, right?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I mean, to be fair, I do think Steve has a better chance of getting his stuff back from Kent than he does from the police, because the police do like to just steal your stuff.
Yeah,
Here in the
I don't
good
know.
old United
Hovind
States.
also seems like he just likes to steal people's shit, so...
Yeah, he
No,
does.
he likes to have them donated, so that way it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
Donated.
Either or.
The morning after, former Dow members also accused Lynn of stealing ministry money and shooting a dog to death. The morning after Lynn's arrest, Hovind convened a Dow meeting, said Gifford, who attended the gathering. During the meeting, a staffer who'd driven Lynn home from jail told the group that during the ride, Lynn had confessed to embezzling, quote, tens of thousands of dollars from the ministry. Bracket, asked about the alleged crime, Hovind said Lynn had admitted to using ministry credit card to, quote, buy things that he really should not have and did not have authorization to. But I think he's made most of that up. I mean, he's repented and given us back some things.
Oh,
How
good.
did he make it
That's-
up if
that's
he's
good to
given
know.
it back? If he's given back what he's stolen, or that he shouldn't have bought, then how could it be made up?
I want to hear
You
more
can
about
vote.
this dog. The IT worker also removed cash directly from a donation box. Shunk claimed, quote, I was in the science center giving the tour, she recalled. Quote, Steve Lins pulls up his car, drives right up to the doors, gets out, goes inside of the science center, unlocks the donation box, takes a wad of cash, shoves it right in his pocket, gets in a car, and leaves. Shunk didn't want to interrupt the tour and make a scene in front of the visitors, but after the tour, she took her concerns to Hovind. Dr. Hovind says to me, Julie, Steve can do whatever he wants to do, she said.
Oh, well. Misappropriating donation funds. Yeah, okay.
Hovind told the Daily Beast that I don't know that it happened. I certainly would never say that. Yeah, you would.
Yeah, boy.
You said the same thing about that Chris guy and the kid, right? He can do whatever he wants.
Put yourself in the position of someone who is going to Dinosaur Adventureland because they're an unironic fan of Kent Hovind who thinks he's doing the Lord's work and that his ministry is leading people to salvation. And so you take some of your hard-earned cash and put it into his donation box. Do you think that that person expects their money to go to Steve's drug-fueled benders, or do you think that person expects that to go towards things like continuing on the work of the actual ministry, like finishing up building projects or creating better displays in the quote-unquote museum?
I have another question.
What do you think that person expects?
What is the salvation of people worth to you?
Apparently a whole bunch of drug-fueled benders.
And dogs getting shot and killed, and children dying and getting assaulted, and a complete lack of safety regulation, sucking like a leech off of the rest of society. What is that salvation worth to you? And I think that's a valid question. If the lack of safety and the assault of children is worthwhile to you, and like at least, well, you know, one kid dying isn't so bad if you get the salvation of the entire hospital, you may want to refocus your priorities.
Okay, and also, did you know that you can convert people to Christianity without letting little kids die or be sexually assaulted?
No, what? No.
Yeah, it turns out that many people over the course of history have converted to Christianity without any of that stuff being in the background of that conversion.
Oh, wow. Who'd have thought?
Wow, that's
weird
to me, man. Thanks.
Pittenger and her husband also accused Lynn of killing their dog, a hound named Bagel. Oh, his name was Bagel. The couple, at odds with some Dow residents, had by that time pooled resources with another couple and moved off campus to a house across from Lynn. Bagel frequently visited Lynn's house to see the dog, to Lynn's Chargan, Pintiger said. After one such visit, Lynn texted Pintiger and her husband that the beagle had wandered onto his property and that he'd returned the hound to Pintiger's house. Pintiger found the message odd. She and her husband had been doing work in the yard all day, she said. She hadn't seen Lynn come by with the dog. They said they found the beagle's bullet-ridden riddled corpse, on the side of the road near Dow the next day. When Pintinger and her husband accused Lynn, he denied all the allegations. He produced security footage from his house showing him holding the beagle by the collar, leading her, he said, to his truck to drive her home. But the footage was filmed hours after Lynn texted about dropping off Bagel. Pintiger claimed, and hours before the dog was found dead.
In other words, plenty of time to have shot Bagel.
Yeah.
Quote, if you drive from his yard to our yard, it would take less than a minute, Pintiger said. Quote, if you walked him, it might take 5, but the length of time that it took him in the video to load Bagel up in the car and reappear back in the yard, going by headlights on his car, he was gone 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, I have a dog, and I love my dog, and my dog is part of the stream, and when he is here right now, he's in the hallway. If I found out my neighbor shot my dog, I'm pretty sure the result would be less, or a little bit more than me complaining to Kent Hovind that my dog got shot.
Yeah.
This is so sad, man. Seriously, that poor thing wandered off to someone's property, wasn't harming anyone. Well, maybe barking, that might irritate you, but then just drop him off back to their owner's house and say, hey, listen, can you control your dog? He's barking. Like, come on.
I'll put it this way. Anybody who's followed this channel for a long time knows that Katie Joy does not have a very good control over her animals, and she has neighbors, and sometimes those neighbors have to deal with those dogs because they're like hopping the fence and shitting in their yard and shit. At no point during the years that this has gone on has one of those dogs turned up dead. To be clear.
Yeah.
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 So yeah,
They have to live beside Katie Joy.
That's even
yeah,
worse.
like if she can manage her dogs, this should be walk in the park. Seriously.
At the time of Beagle's death, Lynn was renting a home from Lincoln, who asked him to move out in the summer of 2022. Hovind agreed to have Lynn vacate the property. Why does Hovind need to have anything to do with this? If it's her property, she can evict him without him at all.
Because Lynn wouldn't have listened to her. That's why.
I mean, fair, but that shouldn't matter. He doesn't have to listen to her. She can evict him a lot earlier.
The thing is, as
It's
I
a
think we'll
hierarchy
see,
problem, right?
it's well, there's that, but also it's not like Lynn isn't known to be violent, as we've already seen.
Yeah,
I
fair.
wouldn't want to be Cindy going to confront Steve Lynn about this, knowing that he's almost certainly just shot a dog to death,
Yeah.
and he's the person that I've been accusing of having, drug problems, and that then got confirmed. And
Yeah.
Especially
I
when it's
understand-
like Hovind's like when Hovind is at such a high position, and this is like your husband's best friend, like best friend.
very, very, yeah, best friend with the raised eyebrows.
Yeah, best friends with benefits.
Oh boy.
Hovind, I'm just like, but from a technical standpoint, Hovind has nothing, like, has no power over the situation.
Yeah, no, technically not. However,
Socially.
yeah.
Hovind agreed to have Lynn vacate the property by July 1st that year. She said Lynn stayed in the house by December 23rd. I filed an eviction, Lincoln said. Lynn left the house in January of 2021, but not before stripping it to the studs. He stole my washer, my dryer, and took every fixture out of the wall. The thermostat, the phone jacks, the lights. He was the Grinch, man! He took the backsplash off the kitchen walls. I need to read this. Like, he's a mean one. He stole the washer and the dryer. He took every fixture out of the wall. The thermostat, the phone jacks, the lights. He took the backsplash off the kitchen wall. He took the kitchen sink and shoved it up the chimney.
Oh god.
Not enough rhyming. 5 out of 10.
Well, blame Cindy for that. It's her quote.
Okay.
Damn it, Cindy.
I'll give her a call
That's
later
so
on.
much.
Tell her to rhyme more often. She said adding in what would be really funny if you were getting interviewed often enough that you started the quotes you started giving whoever was doing
Just
the
added
interviewing
rhymes.
just rhyming.
Oh wow.
Yes.
She said adding that an electrician later surveyed the damage and told her that one of the severed wires from a stolen dishwasher could have killed somebody. Lincoln sued Lynn and won approximately $10,000 judgment in February of 2022 after Lynn failed to show up at court. He had not yet paid her the money, she said. To the surprise of no one.
Of no one.
Yeah, look, I don't
What
think
was
she's
that
going to
other one
recover
who
that.
did not turn up at court and
She has to
then
sell the
they
debt.
just said they weren't served.
Unless, I mean, I guess it's possible that she might be able to, garnish. I don't know what the options are, but, I mean, there are
I'm sorry,
things she could
do you think Steve Lynn is making wages that could be garnished?
That's
and that
fair.
he's, reporting
Well,
it?
it did
no.
say he was working at, a Radio Shack, didn't it?
That's a
earlier?
good point. Maybe he is. Maybe he is making garnishable wages.
Lynn is currently awaiting trial for his car theft arrest, despite claiming in court record that, quote, I do not have a criminal conviction history in this state or any other state. He has twice pledged guilty to theft in Missouri, where he also had an open warrant. I mean, he also owes Cindy money, so she stole from him, too.
It's not had an open warrant. He still has an open warrant as of the writing of this article.
Oh, sorry. He has twice pleaded guilty to a theft in Missouri, where he also has an open warrant. A clerk in the state of 2nd Judicial Circuit Court confirmed to the Daily Beast, the court regards Lynn's failure to appear in a case of allegedly fraudulently using a credit and debit device. So stolen credit cards, potentially?
Possibly. It could also
God.
be, using one of those card skimmers that people can put inside the little swipe thing that can get the data off your card. Those are much less of a thing now that most cards use the chip. but we don't know how long ago that would have been, so it could very, very easily have been long enough ago.
The fearmonger rewrote it so it works. He took the washer, he took the dryer, every fixture from the wall, he took the backslash, he took the oven, the thermostat, he took it all!
Nice. Well done.
Why did you, Hovind claimed to be unaware of the warrant when Dal residents asked about it in a meeting recording show. During that meeting, he also defended removing Lynn from the drug rehabilitation facility he had entered after his arrest. Why did you take him out of rehab? A woman asked tearfully on the recording. I took him out of rehab to go get his laptop up here, to get the passwords and stuff, Hovind replies. Hovind told
he couldn't go to the rehab.
He doesn't have to leave rehab to get those.
No. Oh God! What?
At least come up with a good excuse. We know it's a bullshit excuse no matter what it is, but come up with one that's at least plausible. My God.
The excuse Kent has is bad.
Hovind told the Daily Beast that Lynn now works in logging, not at Dal. They had lunch a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, despite the death, logging industry is not overworked anyways. Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, but that means that he has a job that Cindy could garnish potentially.
If Alabama allows that kind of thing.
If Alabama allows that kind of thing. That's why I said potentially. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I just hope Cindy Lincoln gets everything that she deserves, which is everything. She's wonderful. Despite the death of a child at the park and accusations that his friend molested another kid on his watch, Hovind still operates Dal and makes regular videos on YouTube where he has more than 215,000 subscribers until his YouTube channel got taken down.
Not anymore.
Those fans help comprise what ex-Dal residents said was steady churn of new supporters. Meanwhile, Hovind is facing his own criminal case. In late 2020, he body-slammed Lincoln in their home, sending her to the emergency room, according to a protection order. Hovind also took an audio recording of the incident. The disturbing audio includes loud bangs and Cindy and Lincoln's screams. Well, Hovind states, "What are you doing, Cindy? Why would you jump on me and grab me, Cindy?" Lincoln said,
"This sounds like Amber Heard, saying on the audio, why are you pushing me? Why are you all that shit that she did on her recording."
Did you just call Kent Hovind Amber Heard?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Lincoln said
the male version of Amber Heard. Yeah.
Lincoln said Hovind later distributed the audio as evidence for his claim that Lincoln is bipolar. Having talked to Cindy on a one-on-one basis, but also live, I have seen no indication of that whatsoever. However, I am not a professional. Neither is Hovind.
Hey, you know what isn't a good excuse to body slam someone? Them being
that person
that isn't
bipolar.
A good excuse. That doesn't give you the right to just body slam them. That's the thing.
You mean somebody who's got a mental illness or a disability is not a reason to assault them?
Yeah, as it turns out.
Accept nudes from them.
Yeah. In 2021, he was convicted of domestic violence in the incident. Convicted being the key word here. He denies that he was abusive and is appealing the ruling. While the court case pens, Lincoln is trying to recoup money she lost on the loan she made to Dal, which constituted most of her retirement savings. The church stopped... retirement savings. The church stopped her paying the loan after she left Hovind, she said. She had been unable to find the loan signatory, a Hovind supporter, to serve him legal papers. The statute of limitations on the lawsuits expires this spring. Instead of retiring as she had hoped, Lincoln, now 60, has re-entered the job market. She's 60? I wouldn't believe it.
She doesn't look 60, no.
Another former Dal resident, James Duncan, went public with similar allegations in July of 2021. And again, if you want to support Cindy, I will add a link down below. Another former Dal resident, James Duncan, went public with similar allegations in July of 2021. He had been a Dal member in early 2021, attending the meeting with Jones. Quote, "I want to make a public record. Kent Hovind has clearly defrauded me, entered into a trust with me in the name of Dal, and broke that trust, costing me probably over $100,000. Duncan, whose picture still appears on the Dal site, wrote in an anti-Hovind Facebook group. Facebook group. The Daily Beast was unable to verify the allegations because Duncan died of suicide in late 2022. Hovind and Dal trustees told the Daily Beast that no such trust existed. Duncan's widow told the Daily Beast that she, quote, "cannot say one way or the other that there was a formal trust. My husband had a knack for following conspiracy theories," she said, adding, "well, that's why you supported Hovind." that she, quote, tried to discourage his move down there. She said that her husband likely had approximately $100,000 in belongings that he moved to Dal. He was unable to retrieve his belongings when he left the compound, which set off about depression, the widow said. Quote, my husband finally saw them for all the type of people that they are, she said, and could not get over the big mistake and disappointment of moving his stuff there. And that's
so
where
sad.
it ends.
That's sad, man.
So, we have 2 audio clips, but before we do those, I think we should take another just little mini 2-minute break, and then we'll look at some recordings, and then we'll look to wrap up, because I know you guys are both busy. But I do have 2 things that I want to touch on before we go. So, alright, we will take a quick mini break. We'll see you guys in about 2 minutes. I'm going to go get another beer, and I will see you guys momentarily. I was a little bit slow this time. Alright, so this is gonna get into a little bit more trigger warning stuff. Welcome back, Bent. And again, real quick, like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Become a member if you're interested. We do art here sometimes, as well as on Twitch, so feel free to join us over there. I got another beer. Yeah, there's merch! And I know Dapper's also got merch. I know that Ben's got in the background
merch,
there.
so.
I've got snack, I've got chips, hear me chomp.
Hear me chomp, she says.
Yeah, but I'll mute myself when I do it, sorry.
Alright, I'm gonna play the audio of this interview that the Daily Beast did with Kent. We probably won't listen to the whole thing, but we'll take a listen, and you guys just let me know when you want me to pause. Also, again, trigger warnings. This gets pretty fucking yikes. So...
Well, I guess I sort of answered I've seen a police report filed in Easttown, South Carolina, and it alleges that Chris touched the boy's genitals with a paper towel. Now that's the text of a police report. I was wondering if you're aware of that report and just what you think of it.
I've never heard of that report. They had to accuse him of something to put him in jail because of his political stand. You need to interview Chris, not me. I don't know the details. But I've known Chris for 20 years. He's been a longtime friend of mine. He loves the Lord. I don't think he would do any such thing. So I would say either it was made up to try to get him in jail for some reason. I would I would not believe that story unless Chris himself admitted it.
Except that Kent admitted this, didn't he? Kent said
Well, he
that
admitted
things
to
went
the-
on.
He admitted to some wrestling and, having them sleep in the same bed.
And the strip
Which
poker.
Yeah, he did admit to strip, but that's a different incident. So technically, Kent has not admitted that this particular incident happened in this particular way. I will say, yeah, he's admitted to just about everything else to the point where it's like, why would you find this extraordinary, Kent?
Plus the conviction that exists. Plus the scenario that he facilitated initially. He admitted to facilitating initially, right? And I like this that, well, I never felt threatened by this person. Kent, you're not a child. You're not the target.
He's a full-grown ass man who beats up women. That's what he is.
Oh, Kent. Yeah.
And hates kids.
And hates kids. You know, that place where he built his entire career off of.
Yeah.
See, he doesn't like kids in terms of actually having to interact with them and whatnot, or caring about them as people, but he likes kids because they're easy to convince to say a sincerely believed sinner's prayer, which is the only thing he cares about. Because he thinks that gets him extra brownie points, and But he thinks that every single person who says a sincere sinner's prayer, and therefore, according to Kent's views, becomes, quote, saved, is an extra little brownie point that he gets when he goes to heaven. That's his motive here.
Yikes.
Colin.
No, I very much like to. I'd love to ask you for his number after this. I did speak to the boy's mother, and she told me she filed that report. Do you think she's trying to get him in jail for political reasons?
Oh, I've never heard of the mother filing a report. When I talked to the mother just that one time after his visit here, she was excited, said he had a wonderful time, came here and visited, had a great time touring Dinosaur Adventureland, and went back home. It was a non-eventful, other than wonderful, even better than Disneyland here.
And you said
Better than Disneyland.
The ego.
Days after, because she told me that 5 days after he returned home, he opened up to her and told her that Chris Jones acted inappropriately toward him at Dinosaur Adventure.
Okay, this is the first I've heard of that. I think it was the very next day I called her when she said he had a wonderful time, and he said he had a wonderful time. So
Before the child could.
The dead end street here with me, I don't know any more about it than that.
All right, and
even
then
then,
the last question go on.
even then, how does that affect me? Or during the report on Dinosaur Adventureland, we have people come from all over the world here to see the place. I don't control what everybody does in their personal life.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, what does it have to do with me?
What does that have to do with me?
But also, he's not in control of everything that happens at Dinosaur Adventureland, and he's not in control of everything that happens outside of Dinosaur Adventureland. So basically, Kent is saying he has control over nothing that happens whatsoever.
Nothing is ever
Why
his
pretending to have
responsibility.
control over everything?
I'm in charge, it's fine. But I have no control.
Happens here, we monitor, but he did not stay with the boy here. They stayed somewhere else, didn't they? That's right.
Not here.
They weren't even here on
Yeah,
campus.
on
Okay.
property you control.
We do have cabins
Kent.
people stay in, but
Say again, Dapper?
It's on property he controlled, right? It's like,
Yeah.
look. let's
How
say
does
I'm a
having a
getaway driver.
pedophile working in my space that I allow to exist in my space and allow to sleep in the same bed as children affect me?
Yeah, it's sort of like being the getaway driver for a bank heist and then saying, right, but the car wasn't mine. I borrowed it from my buddy Fred. And
Baby driver.
no one
Why does
cares.
this have a negative view of my lovely Bible park?
How is it my responsibility?
I don't control the roads. I don't own those. I only drive on them in my friend's car.
I can't control
Friend.
how many mattresses can be there on that property. No.
I only had 100% control of where they were sleeping that night.
Yeah,
And in fact,
and
went out of my way to
they sleep in the
prevent
same
them
bed.
from sleeping in a space with 2 beds.
Mm-hmm.
he did not stay here. So next question.
Now, okay, I do want to be sure that we're on the same page about that, because my understanding is that they were going to stay in the man cave together. Now that's on campus, right?
Yep.
We do have a man cave with 8 bunks in there, and
He wasn't
he
staying here.
did not stay in there.
or on the
So my
property.
understanding is that he was going to, that somebody was going to make up 2 beds for them in there, which makes sense, and that you said, no, they're going to stay in another cabin. My
No.
understanding from that conversation, this was a cabin that had recently, the shops had been finished, and
Okay.
that was on campus, is that correct?
Freddie is here with me. He knows more about it. What happened, Freddie?
The agreement was never to stay here. As a matter of fact, when Chris was coming down here, he was going to stay at that property that Cindy used to own, and that's where he slept. And the person who was taking care of that property at the time was Paul Hansen. When Mia, who used to own that house, had him stay at the property before Cindy had purchased that house, and so they stayed there. And I think the conversation was with Paul Hansen, who had said that he was fixing 2 beds for them there, not on the property. As a matter of fact, they came here late in the afternoon, and I think they had Bible study, and they left, and the following morning's when they came back.
So I want to point out the hoops that are being jumped through right now by this man. This was a question about whether or not there was a separate 2-bedroom sleeping area that was set up for that Kent told them no and go stay at this place instead. Now this guy is talking about the history of who owns the building, which was not the question.
Right.
He's trying to blame the manager of the property. In short, he's throwing the manager under the bus. He's like, we don't have any control. Talk to the manager, blah, 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 blah. That's what it is.
So, nothing happened here. How's that?
How's that?
I
Catch me
I
outside!
am still concerned with the core allegation that something did happen. Kent, I was shown a voicemail that you left, and I'd love to learn the context of it, because it sounds like you're talking about a police report that the boy's family may have filed. You said somebody, I'm not sure who you're talking about, is a bunch of morons regarding the report. Do you remember that voicemail, and what was the context?
I do not. But, what happens in the rest of the world I can't control, and that nothing happened here. It's if Chris did anything inappropriately. First of all, I don't believe that for a second. But if he did, or maybe it's an allegation, then you need to talk to him, not me. It didn't happen here, and we have nothing to do with it. So why would that even be in a report you're doing on Dinosaur Adventureland? Why do you...
How would you have nothing to do with it?
Oh my God.
He's your friend, he's your guy, and you told him to stay at that building that your group owns.
Literally the only reason Chris Jones is even in the state is Kent HOVIND.
Right.
He doesn't live in that state. He doesn't live in Alabama. If I remember correctly, he lives in Texas or something. The only reason he's even in Alabama is Kent HOVIND. And Kent's like, I don't know what it has to do with me.
This is literally a guy who's going out of his way to enable his friends to victimize children by utilizing his sovereign citizen privately owned area while also being like, but it wasn't technically mine, so I can't control everything that goes on in the world. Nobody's asking you to control everything that goes on in the world. In fact, maybe don't. I don't think anybody wants a world that Kent is in charge of.
No, I don't.
I think so. What the mainstream media has termed as pivoting, dancing around the topic, not actually answering the question, or as Shesh says, being vaguely specific.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah, I think Ben.
I agree with everybody except Kent.
That's a good one.
Ben, I am going to ask you like a little bit more in-depth question at the end of this. I'm going to ask you what your opinion is on this journalist and how she handled this situation. So just so you know that I'm going to be asking you that later.
Get ready, Ben.
Yeah, I'm putting you in the hot seat.
Keep pressing this point.
Well, because it does seem to be a point of concern for a lot of people who've left that servant. There's a conversation, a meeting that folks had, I think maybe, I want to say, 2021, it came up with folks' concerns. So, when this does become a point that people bring up when they're trying to talk about Dinosaur Adventureland, I think it's something that's worth noting. And, I just want to nail this down, because, so you're saying that if it's something that happened off campus, well, that's Chris Jones' business. If it did happen off campus, would you let him back on?
So before Kent answers here, I do want to point out something that just happened. Kent has tried to dodge this question 3 times in 5 minutes of audio. He's tried to dodge this question by bringing somebody else in, by answering it himself. This journalist is not letting this go. And she's basically rephrasing you've had children be in danger and die at your park in the past. This is a point of concern when you have a product that's geared towards children. This is like painting things with lead paint and they're children's toys. And some company gets asked, children are dying when they're playing with your toys. That seems like a problem.
Well, they didn't play with the toys on the factory floor, so I don't see what the problem is.
Well, I don't see what that has to do with me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, if this can be proven that he did something inappropriate like that, off
He
campus,
already
even,
did.
I would say I'm sorry.
Okay, no, we all agree that he already did something inappropriate. Now, we're talking about whether or not he did something illegal. It's already inappropriate for a stranger to sleep in the same bed as a child, period. End of sentence. That we all agree that this is already inappropriate.
But Shesh, Kent's definition of inappropriate is different than ours, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like he just doesn't have a definition, though.
That's also possible, yeah.
He's just like, whatever is convenient.
Inconvenient for him
I think it's
becomes
whatever he can get away
inappropriate, or
with.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fred, you're talking about the past. I can't change the past, ergo I'm not responsible for my past actions.
Oh my god.
I'm a new I wake up every day a new person. I can't be held responsible for murdering 3-year-olds yesterday. I can't be held responsible for the child wrestling I did the other day.
Oh,
Of course, you can't come
He's
here.
old me, not a good guy.
I've known him for years. I don't think he did, and as I've told you, I don't believe the report at all. But if indeed it's proven that he did, then yep, case settled. You can't come here. We don't have pedophiles here. Certainly.
He's already convicted, by the way.
He's a convicted.
Yeah.
He's already been convicted for sexually
Hold on, hold
abusing
on.
children.
So he's willing to believe
Well,
this
Kent knows
case,
that.
but not the previous cases. Why didn't he say that this case is also part of the New World Order? Can someone? What?
This reporter is straight from the Illuminati.
Oh no! What's her name? I forgot.
This is when you put him on the spot. This reporter did a very good
Wild.
job, and he knew he would look
Kelly.
like. Yeah, Kelly did a fantastic.
Kelly
job.
works for the Illuminati, confirmed.
Hey, Kat, is she on Twitter? Can we interview her?
Maybe I can reach out to her.
Yeah, like.
Do you think a proper journalist that works for the Daily Beast would be willing to come on to a show called Dumb Fekk Friday?
Possibly.
Hey, come on, you never know.
Anything's
Also,
possible.
she might be a
never
freelance
taken,
reporter.
it's a
She might not
chance
actually work for
forever.
them.
That's true. She could be freelance. All right, I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do about this.
Just an
Or you could put her on Debate Hub. Maybe she'd be more amenable to Debate Hub.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh,
That's fair. That definitely
yeah,
has
yeah.
a far better name than Dumb Fekk Friday.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yeah.
It's true. That name was Dapper's idea. The name and the kind of iconography vibe of the show was Dapper, and the stinger is all bent.
Mm-hmm.
For Dumb Fekk Friday?
Nice.
No, for Debate Hub.
No.
Yeah,
I
for
am
Debate Hub,
working
yeah,
with
yeah,
artists, I think.
Yeah, this is like the group that invented Debate Hub right here. The three of us. Not
Awesome.
Manya.
Wow.
Manya doesn't count.
No,
Yeah, replace Manya with Landon, and you got it.
There you go.
There, I'll just grab a picture of Landon and stick it right there.
Not overnight. People come take the tours. How many people go to Disneyland that are pedophiles? Probably thousands.
Okay, but how
Many
many of
people
them
work at
are
your
Michael
paper that are
Eisner's
pedophile.
personal
Oh.
friend?
Okay, but there is one at Dinosaur Adventureland that you're allowing around children. This is a non sequitur.
Right?
What-
Like the thing
why-
is,
this
the
is
actual
what
comparison
about
would be like Michael Eisner, who I think is the CEO again. As far
Yeah.
as I know, he was rehired, I guess. The analogy would be if he had a convicted child molester who was a friend, who he said, "Hey, buddy, come to Disney World or Disneyland whenever you want. It's fine. Don't worry about it."
Bring
And you know what?
BYOC. Bring your own child.
Right, bring your own child, and you know what? If you want, we'll set you up in like the back room of like that big sphere at Epcot Center where no one can see you, and the only thing in there will just be one bed, and you can have that kid in there for as long as you want. That's the comparison. If someone had wandered onto DAL to take the tour, who it turns out had been a convicted child molester, no one would be saying, "Oh, Kent, how could you?" because Kent can't reasonably be expected to screen everyone who shows up at the front gates, right? But that's not what's happening here. He has explicitly invited this man and enabled him. Now, since it's technically an allegation, he's put him in a situation where the kind of things that were alleged to have happened are very possible.
Mm-hmm.
That is not at all an analogous situation.
Yeah, it's beyond so it's beyond the situation of like, oh, this is just a random allegation. Not only is this not random, this is somebody who also has previous convictions, but this is also somebody who was set up in a position of failure, so that even if he didn't, Kent set this man up for failure. So if anybody is part of the New World Order out to get this guy because of his politics, it's Kent! I hit play.
No.
You sure? Are you sure?
I'm pretty confident about that.
Okay. I don't know anybody there, but
We do background checks at our workplace, and if there's somebody who's a known convict, we don't let them around children at the Daily Beast. This is not a children facility, you fuckhead. Oh my god.
okay.
Okay.
So shocked.
Right, so I think I'll move on to, you've alluded to Cindy Lincoln a couple times. I know you were convicted of a domestic incident regarding her in late 2020. Did he body slam her? Because that's what she says happened.
That is absolute lie. I had nearly broken my left arm a few days before that, building the dining hall. A beam fell on it. I still have the scar. Can everybody see that scar right there?
Attention needed.
He's a professional builder, he's the foreman.
I mean, look, professional construction workers do get injured. I'm not going to say that it's like impossible he was injured or that it reflects badly if he was. But like, also, I would like to see those medical records because apparently Kent didn't produce them in court as some kind of exculpatory evidence. Why is that?
Yeah.
Curious.
I mean, I would also like to point out that
where are the medical records?
Almost breaking your arm does not prevent you from body slamming somebody. For example, people play football, like American football.
With broken arms.
Not even with broken arms. Anytime you step on the field to play football, you have almost broken your arm. That whistle blows, you've almost broken your arm.
Not entirely inaccurate.
Almost.
You've definitely had a concussion.
I was holding my phone in my right hand. She dove at me to grab my phone. I turned to the side, pushed her off to the side. She hit the floor, screamed and yelled. And then the next day, you took her to the chiropractor, right, Freddie?
It wasn't on the next day, though.
When was it?
It was a while after.
Okay, Freddie, tell your side of the story for Carter.
Okay, so before Freddie tells his side of the story, because I don't know why we give two shits about Freddie, Dapper, you've heard that audio. Can you tell us a little bit about what Kent's talking about?
So, it's been a little while since I've listened to the audio, in part because it's not easy to listen to. But it's hard to hear with any like great accuracy exactly what's happening, right? But there is some kind of sound of some kind of rustling that might be some kind of a slam or a fall or something. But Cindy is screaming for him to stop recording or to give her the phone, and Kent is sitting there basically saying, Cindy, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? In an extremely unconvincing tone. It's sort of like if you've seen The Office, that bit where they're recording the meeting for Michael and Jim says, Dwight, are you taking off your shirt? What are you doing, Dwight? It's like...
Right.
It's like, yeah, this sounds very obviously like you're just saying this for the benefit of anyone who might listen afterwards. Mm-hmm. And basically, other than that, it's Cindy screaming apparently in pain is what it sounds like. It in no way confirms Kent's story. I'm not going to say it confirms Cindy's story because I don't think it does, right? It's basically neutral. However, it's hard to listen to that and come away thinking that Kent is being a sincere person who is wondering what's wrong with his poor wife.
That everything was okay,
or that he's the one who was attacked.
Yeah, this
it's
is
very
clearly, it's very clearly an altercation.
Yeah.
I would put it this way.
I don't know why.
I have plenty of reasons to believe Cindy. I have no reason to believe Kent, because things don't happen in a bubble, right? Things are not individualistically... Now, could we be wrong? Yeah, that's certainly possible. That is not the end of the world one way or another. However, if I'm going to take a gamble here, and I'm going to take an educated guess, let's call it a hypothesis, I'm going to say that historically Kent is a piece of fucking shit, and he's a lying, gaslighting asshole. And now we're going to hear Fred's side of the story, and let's hear if we think Fred's side of the story follows along with Kent or follows along with Cindy. And I think this will probably be the last bit that we cover today. So let's listen real close to some of the terminology and wording that happens here.
She was there was no body slam, because even me being here with her, she knows very well. It's one of the reasons why I even told her, I said, you going out there and saying that he slammed you, you very well heard the recording and everything that's on the recording. And I asked her, I said, does it sound like that's a body slam? She said, well, I don't care. So that's where she stands with that. And then I'm the one who actually took her to the chiropractor. And while I was driving there with her, we were having a long conversation, which I don't want to put it out in the air. But the last thing that we did say while we got to the chiropractor, she leaned in and she asked me, should I tell the doctor that he body slammed me so I can have a record of it? And I said, would a Christian do such a thing? And she just nodded off and didn't say anything. She went in, she came back out, she sat next to me, she said, I did it anyways.
Good for her.
Go.
That's what a Christian would do if it's the truth. They would tell the truth.
Yeah, that's the thing. The only way to make that...
allegedly against one.
Again, as a general rule, yeah, there's a long history of like whether or not even to save someone's life that dishonesty would be acceptable for a Christian. Now, a large portion of Christian theologians come down to the point of like, yeah, if it saves someone's life, it's probably okay to be dishonest. But like, not all of them, and none of them, as that I'm aware of, have come to the conclusion that like you should totally just make up crimes. But the thing is, all of this just depends on Freddie being correct that nothing happened. When first of all, he's certainly not in that recording. I don't have any reason to think he was even in the room when this event occurred. Now, Cindy hasn't said anything about another person who was in the room. I don't know. I haven't asked her specifically because, quite frankly, I'm not about to ask her to relive that day. Even if I do,
there's a time and place. There's a time and place, right. And she's dealing with enough legal issues and yada yada. She's gonna have to relive it enough time. There's also like people who are on YouTube that are trying to take advantage of her name for clicks and views and shit like that. I agree with Deborah. There's no need to dive into it.
But yeah, I don't have any reason to think that Freddie was even there or that he was the one who took her to the chiropractor because. I mean, Cindy has never mentioned him doing that. But then again, I'm not saying that means he didn't do it. He very well could have. I wouldn't expect Cindy to tell me every last detail about everything that's ever happened to her.
Just because you said that would a Christian do that doesn't mean that she was lying when she was asking you, should I tell the doctor that he body slammed me? Like, she's telling you in confidence this thing, and you are out there just throwing it around. But just because you said, would a Christian do that, doesn't mean that you accused her of lying. That is so vague. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's what he's trying to imply. He's implying that a Christian wouldn't tattletale to the doctors about what actually happened to them or their view of what happened to them. Right?
Yeah, I don't remember the verse in the Bible where it says, don't tell your doctor that your husband shoved you to the ground.
It must be in the New Kent version.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Kent needs to produce his own Bible at this point. Kent! Where's our Kent Hovind version of the Bible?
Yeah,
where is it?
He's just going to say it's the KJV.
But it's not. It's the opposite. He's got to... No, I demand that this man get some poor college girl in a hot summer stuck in an attic with no air conditioning to retype everything he's saying because he doesn't know how to read and he doesn't know how to type into a new Kent Bible. I demand this.
You're just talking about there's a lot of references to his dissertation, which, by the way, if you want to see most of the people here read, check it out on my channel. It's like a 6-part series. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
You go to the table of contents, and it just says "Get book title."
Get book title. Get book title.
He promises 16 chapters. He delivers 4.
If I knew how to make get book title into like a GIF or into like a clip, I would.
So I don't know what you understand from that, but what I know is exactly that. Dr. Hovind didn't body slam her.
Okay, we are in the spot where this incident took place in my dining hall. I was sitting in the chair where Billy is, She was screaming. I said, Cindy, my attorneys have told me I have to record when you go crazy like this, and so I turned this phone on right here. After a few minutes, I worked my way around. I was standing in that little hallway 3 foot wide, trying to get out the door. When she dove for me to get my phone, she'd been cursing and swearing the whole time. You can hear it. I don't know if she edited the recording or not that she plays, but...
No. Hold on. The recording he uploaded to the internet does not have Cindy cursing at him.
Yeah.
Nor
It does
does
not
his
have
recording have any editing done by her.
No, his recording does not start out with some tirade by Cindy. If it did, it would be in the recording that he was uploading. If Cindy had some edited version that she had, I don't know about it because I've never received a copy of that recording from her. The only place I've ever cut that recording was straight from Kent. He's just lying.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it's like he's betting on the Daily Beast having done no research at all.
Yeah.
By the way, I do think that after the screaming starts, that Cindy does in fact utter a few things that some more sensitive viewers might consider curse words.
Okay, listen. All right. If all you need to know about Cindy Lincoln and cursing is watch her first time interacting with me. She is adorable, and I loved every second of it. She said something about Kent, and I responded with like, "What the fuck?" And she was just like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, right.
It's probably one of my favorite interactions, which is sadly not on this channel. All right, let's keep going a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up.
We have the original. And when she fell down...
Everyone has the original. You put it out like it exonerated you, you dumb fuck.
No. Listen to
He
what he
posted
said
it
when
on my
he fell
tiny
down.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, he did. That's how I first found out about it. Was he left a comment linking to it on like what was it, like a Dropbox link or something, or like a Google Drive link on your channel?
Yeah, he posted it on my reaction video of the kid drowning and what about. And I had like maybe 80 subs at the time. Like, why is he seeking out the tiniest channels to post evidence of him abusing his spouse?
If Cindy was Canadian, I would live with her in a heartbeat. Like, no questions asked. I'd be like, yeah! To be fair, I'd do the same with Dapper and Ben. But they live in scary America land. And it's
So
scary
now
there.
you've changed sides. Okay, Shesh. Alright, yeah.
There hasn't
Well,
been
no,
shooting on
because
Twitter
New
that
Zealand
I
isn't...
know of.
Wait, hold on, shit!
Hold up.
Hold on, I'm in trouble. Fuck! Alright.
You did it to yourself.
I did. All right, we're taking the atheist commune and we're throwing it away. This is now going to be the Chesh commune. That's what we're gonna do. So we need to start crowdfunding that. I'm gonna call up Kent Hovind at whatever the number is, Dr. Dino, and I'm gonna be like, okay, listen, I need to make my own compound. How do I trick somebody into giving me land?
By the way, I believe the number is 855 Big Dino extension 4.
Thank you, 855 Big Dino, and I'm definitely not gonna call him and ask him to read his own dissertation. And I'm definitely not gonna go to cameo.com/K/Sorbs and ask Kevin Sorbo to quote his own tweets. I'm not gonna do any of those things, alright? We're not gonna do any of those things, but I am gonna ask him advice on how to rip people the fuck off. Alicia for 18 months member says, all hail the Goblin Queen. Thank you. I can make anything work even though I just put my foot down my own throat. Alright.
When she dove for me to get my phone, she'd been cursing and swearing the whole time. You can hear it. I don't know if she edited the recording or not.
Oh, no!
We have the original. And
Yeah, she
when she
snuck
fell
onto your
down,
computer
she was screaming out of
edited your
frustration that
recording.
she can't get my
Yeah.
phone. She jumped up, slammed that chair down. These two chairs right here. There's the
Oh,
broken
no!
tile sitting on top of it. She slammed the chairs down, broke the tile. I said, Cindy, when she first fell down, you can hear it twice if you listen carefully. I said, Cindy, let me help you up. Are you okay? I never raised my voice one time. She is the offender. It's 100% her fault, and they keep trying to pin it on me. And it sounds like you're trying to do the same thing. No, I did not body slam her. I've never body slammed anybody.
Don't believe you
That's what
can.
she cleared.
You know that sounds like The Room, right? I did not hit her, I did not. It's bullshit. Oh, hi, Mark. How's your sex life?
Except at least in the case of The Room, it's true. Johnny hadn't hit her.
I know, I'll give him that much.
The one difference.
Is Freddie still there?
Freddie's here.
Yeah.
Freddie, you raised an interesting, I think, kind of theological question there. You said you asked Cindy, would a Christian make that kind of report to the chiropractor? What's your answer? Do you think that's a Christian thing to do?
To slander somebody and actually lie about something like that. I mean, biblical teaching teaches that liars do not inherit the kingdom of God. So she calls herself a Christian. So my thing was, are you a Christian? Subliminally that was my what I was implying.
I was trying to manipulate Cindy Lincoln into not reporting what had happened with Kent Hovind because I'm an asshole. I have no problem with Kent Hovind lying to the exact face of this journalist as he sits beside me currently right now, as he was the one who released that audio. I'm a giant fucking hypocrite. Fuck you. Fuck everybody around me. I'm out. Ooh. That's what we just witnessed.
And Shesh's camera just went.
My absurdity cannot be contained by the focus of the camera. I think that's where we're gonna probably wrap it up. I got this audio from Peter Riley, so he was the Forbes author. He writes for Forbes online. If you're interested in looking for his stuff, he did a very good article about Kent Hovind and his tax issues, so I definitely recommend checking that out if you're interested. I'm not sure if he's going to be doing an article about this. I did tell him we were going to be looking at it today. We don't have enough time to cover the entire thing. We got to nearly 10 minutes of a how long is this? Hold on. Of a 37-minute audio
Yikes.
clip. So yeah, if you would like to listen to the whole thing, let me know. We'll talk about that. Let me know in the comments down below. I am going to add a thing to support Cindy down below because I don't give two shits about. I don't even care if Cindy's fucking lying to me. Fuck Kent Hovind. I don't give a shit. Cindy could lie to me all day, and I'd be like, shut up and take my money. Like, you take all of my support. I love you. You're wonderful, and I would not even feel bad about it.
You remember you asked Bent a question?
Yes, Ben.
Oh yeah.
This
Very
journalist,
well written.
well written, but in the audio, because this is the same person. This is
Okay.
Kelly.
Kelly.
What do you think about how? Because Kent's a pill, right? Like, he is not easy to necessarily deal with. He is clearly duck, dodge, and diving all over the place. What do you think?
Well, she stays on point, which is important because when he's going to avoid the question, you got to go back to it if you can. And she did a good job of that. And she did something in her article that I found strange. She actually had some citations in text, and there were links you could click. And as someone who's read Kent Hovind's dissertation, I'm not used to seeing that. Citations.
Yeah, I'll give you that much. So you think overall
Spelled
well
the words
handled,
correctly. Overall,
considering
A+.
A+.
Oh, hi, Puck.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, and she had a lot of harsh...
You want to punch Kent
right
Hovind in the
about-
face? Yeah.
She had a lot of
Yeah, you
dark
do.
topics to go into. And she did a pretty good job of touching on them and then coming out of them. pretty
Listen,
well,
my dog does not require to follow along the morals of humans about whether or not violence is okay. Puck wants to punch Kent Hovind in the face, and he's
That should be
got.
okay.
Good boy, Puck.
Listen, we're
I
not
don't think
about
there's any crime
we're not about
against
thought
that.
crime here. If you feel like you want to punch Kent Hovind in the face, as long as you take no action to actually go and do that, you're welcome to feel that way. Good boy. I agree with Ben. I thought this was well handled. Dapper, what do you think?
No, I agree. I'm not sure if I have even anything that I would say that I could improve with this, right?
Sure.
It's certainly not the thing that I typically talk about when I discuss COVID, because, my channel is primarily about the various scientific errors. And so it was even a bit off topic when I interviewed Cindy, but this is very well done. I appreciate that she reached out to basically everyone she could who was involved. I really appreciate Mark Stoney stepping up and helping out with this because, he's got a lot of insider information. Obviously, Cindy's help was great. I wish that Mary Toko had been a little bit more forthcoming, but I understand why she would want to refer people to her Facebook post if she feels like she said everything that she wants to on that. I felt like that before. Hey, you can see my previously published work to see what I feel about this. I get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
overall,
when you
as far
cover
as-
something so much and you don't want to be like Cindy has definitely earned the ire of Kent Hovind, whereas Toko I feel like probably has not in the same way. Not in the same way. Cindy is definitely of the Kent wives is definitely the one that's definitely pulled the most attention from Kent directly.
Well, she's the one who's most openly criticizing him, right? Like until
Right, exactly. So Toko
Mm-hmm.
not adding anything and saying, "Hey, look at my previous
Yeah.
stuff," is a way of kind of deflecting that ire.
In fact, until it came to helping Cindy in court with the original case, Mary Toko was basically silent about the entire Kent thing. Which, I mean, that's her right, right? There's no obligation that she speak out about the financial problems she was seeing. That's fine. So, like, I do wish that she was a little bit more forthcoming, but like I said, I can't fault her too much. And as far as the reporting goes,
Yeah.
I think Kelly, whose last name I'm not sure how to pronounce, otherwise I would use it, did a really good job. And I do think that at the beginning of the interview, it was a little shaky. I think she was a little uncertain or not quite as confident as I wish she would be. But then I think she fixed that by the end. So I don't know if she was nervous for some particular reason, like maybe
It could be
I don't know if she like
nerves,
lives
yeah.
near Kent or something, but like
She does
she
have
got her
a
confidence.
yeah, she definitely, as the interview goes on, she gets more and more. It seems like she was being tentative at the beginning, and then as she goes, she's just like she's trying to play nice, right? There is like an email and contact that is thedailybeast.com, so I'm gonna assume
yeah, she
that she
probably works
works
for them.
for the Daily Beast, but I'll send an email out and see if she's interested in chatting about this. We'll see what happens. Mania, last thoughts and concerns and et cetera, et cetera.
I just have to say, like, people who are even fans or followers of Kent Hovind, I'm quite sure you can find better examples than Kent Hovind. You want to believe in creationism, like that evolution is false or the Earth is flat. You can do all
Ken
that,
Ham is better than Kent Hovind.
right? No,
Yeah.
because now we have seen here where allegedly there's evidence of that he's facilitating people who have a past of harming children. Come on, you cannot endorse that. I'm not saying just because you follow him, you endorse that, but you are enabling it because your donations are going to him, and he's using those donations to build facilities, buy properties where people like this guy Chris can visit and do whatever they want to do with someone else's, like with children. Like, that's, come on, you gotta take a stand. This is like Catholic Church all over again, but you can do better than that, please. It's an appeal. I'm not judging you. It's an appeal to you guys. That's what I'm going to finish at.
Yeah.
Well, if that's everything for everybody, I think this was a very productive stream. Thank you both for joining us for a little bit longer of a Dump It Friday. There was a lot to cover. We didn't even get into Ken bitching about YouTube, but who cares? It's really not very important in light of the rest of everything we talked about. It got kind of dark. Got kind of dark there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't go to Dinosaur Adventureland, and I would argue that there may or may not be an ethical concern to going. Like if you're in any way and giving it any kind of notoriety, it may need to just fade into obscurity. We're gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna email this woman after we're off. And thanks all for coming, and we'll see you next one. Dapper, Ben, where can everybody find you guys?
The channel that I suspect is probably linked in the description, and if not, maybe it could be later.
It is linked.
You can
down
find me there
below.
too.
If you want more Kent and Bent and Dapper, go find Kent with Bent over on Dapper's channel, and feel free to support them however you see fit and whatever you're capable of doing. Thank you all for your support.
Done over 100 episodes.
For Patreons and members, thank you so much. For Super Chatters, also, thank you so much. For anybody who supports Dapper who made it over here, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye. Puck says bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Welcome back to Don't Fekk Friday.
Don't
Don't Fekk Friday.
Don't
Don't Back Friday.
It's going to be fun.